catch me if I fall.
Yeah, and that's what Maddison will be hoping for, isn't it? He'll be looking at them scenarios and thinking, is that my opportunity to creep into the team? I think the other thing you have to take into consideration, and this is something that you always have to look at as a manager and as looking at a squad, is how will they fit into the squad? How will they travel? How will they integrate into the system and the culture of what's being asked for? And I think Gareth has openly been critical of James Maddison in the past for his behaviour at certain points. However, don't always have the same sort of narrative of a certain player. He can mature, he can grow up, and I think we've seen that from James Maddison, not only off the pitch but on the pitch as well in certainly this season.
Just a quick one, Ian, just looking at shots from the Etihad Stadium. Calvin Phillips got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, he's warming up just in front of us. I really enjoyed his appearance on the Monday Night Club.
He was brilliant, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, really relaxed, and you know, he was revealing there that he'd had a couple of issues in terms of 2 full contact training sessions, and the first time he went down, he thought, ooh, and he's come through that as well. I mean, Stephen's talking there about players on form. You know, he's only played 14 minutes of football since he's moved from Leeds United to Manchester City. But I've got no doubt, after listening to him on Monday night, that he'll be in that squad of 26 when it's named by Gareth Southgate tomorrow. He'll hope to get a run out tonight. He'll hope for another run out against Brentford at the weekend. But the fact that he's come through the 2 full training sessions, he's had the contact after the shoulder operation. He'll certainly be fresh going to Qatar, that is for sure.
Thanks, Ian. We'll speak to you shortly ahead of your commentary with Michael Brown from the Etihad. Manchester City against Chelsea here on 5 Live. 6 of tonight's 8 EFL third round ties, they are now underway, and also those games in the Scottish Premiership as well. We're going to stay at Anfield though with Stephen ahead of our game on 5 Live Sports Extra, Liverpool against Derby County. And Stephen, Liverpool really do like this competition, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Jules, just before we go any further, we have won the shirt competition, so we're just wondering as a 5 Live team what the prize was for winning that, because we've
got competition.
Yeah, the highest number.
Oh, go on.
Melcamu Ferrendorf, 94.
94
for Liverpool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 94.
88, 94. Okay.
What's the prize?
Well, a place in the 4th round, perhaps, for him if they beat Derby County tonight. Talking to Pep Lijnders, though, in the press conference yesterday, he says he likes the competition because it represents the whole club, and obviously we can see that with the squad tonight. Yeah,
and it was something that was apparent when I was at the club as well. It gave me my opportunity to play games, to showcase what you can do, give you the opportunity not only to show Liverpool what you can do, but also other clubs, because a lot of the lads who are playing tonight, the young players at Liverpool, they won't go on to play in Liverpool's first team for many years. It'll be an opportunity for them maybe to show other suitors what they can do. There might be a handful that do make that step up to the first team at Liverpool and go on to have successful careers, but it's very difficult when you're pressing for Champions League medals and Premier League medals. So it's a great opportunity for the team, and it's a great opportunity for the young players tonight to show what they're capable of doing. And we've got nearly a packed house already, so that is brilliant for the young players to play in this atmosphere, the occasion of playing at Anfield. And then it's about them. How do they play under pressure?
And what about Derby County? Because as we saw, they didn't get it all their own way at Torquay on Sunday, forced to replay in the FA Cup, and now this obviously against Liverpool tonight.
Yeah, and the games just keep on coming thick and fast for them. I think one change tonight shows the depth in their squad. They just don't have the ability to make changes. The emphasis will be on their game at the weekend to get a result, to make sure that they continue to push up the league. Tonight is all about enjoying the occasion for the Derby fans. They've had a terrible time over the last couple of seasons, and it's nights like this is why they fought hard to get their football club under new ownership and make sure it stayed alive.
Thanks, Stephen. 10 minutes to kick off where you are at Anfield, 10 minutes to kick off at the Etihad Stadium. Let's turn our attentions back to the Etihad. Not long, as I say, until kick-off there. And it certainly feels like a big game, doesn't it, for Graham Potter, looking to avoid three straight defeats domestically.
We've had a 6-week period in the end where we're going to play 13 matches, 8 of them away. It has a toll on everything. Some injuries to some key players. It can get messy. It's part of the process. I've been through it at Brighton, been through it at Swansea, been through it in my club at Sweden. So it is what it is. When results were quite good, I was honest enough to say we've still got a lot of things to do to improve. You know, it's not like we were sitting there thinking we cracked football by any means. You can see from the games, performance-wise, we can improve a lot. That's exciting, but that's also the job, that's also the challenge, and that's what we're looking to do. That's what we're looking forward to the game tomorrow. That's what we're looking forward to the game against Newcastle, because that's where you can learn a lot about each other.
Ian, Michael, hard to say Graham Potter kind of needs the result when you're away to Manchester City, but he really could do with a positive performance, couldn't he?
I'll be honest with you, Jules. Last week, after the heavy defeat at Brighton, I heard on another outlet that Graham Potter was under pressure, and I've got to say it really took me back, and I'm thinking, what chance do managers have if after the first setback they're straight away being labelled that they're under pressure? And I think there is a responsibility for those of us who are in the media to look at it with a sense of realism. You know, this is a guy who's just finding his feet at Chelsea. He's gone through an intense period in October where he's played 9 games. He's got Chelsea through to the knockout stages of the Champions League as group winners. Yes, they were poor against Brighton, but then straight away to be dealing about questions about under pressure, I've got to say I thought it was really, really harsh. Every manager will live and die by results, regardless of the external pressure that is created from the outside. And this obviously is a tournament that, certainly when Jose Mourinho in his first spell in charge at Stamford Bridge, put a lot of stock and value in to try and get a trophy on the board early doors. And I'm sure Graham Potter as a manager will be thinking the same. But he is up against a Manchester City side that in recent years have dominated this competition. And for every manager in the Premier League, particularly for those in Europe, it's been a really, really tough balancing act to try and navigate your way through an intense period where you've got no chance to recover hardly at all. You won't have had quality time on the training field. I think the guy deserves a little bit of slack.
I know you say that. Sorry, Jules, go on.
I was going to put that question to you shortly, because there were callers on 606 as well talking about maybe he wasn't the right choice for Chelsea. But we have the first goal of the night at the London Stadium. West Ham Blackburn, Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, it's gone to the Championship side, Juliet. It's West Ham 0, Blackburn 1. A real positive start from Blackburn Rovers. Jack Bell with the goal after 6 minutes. Sloppy play by the West Ham defence. They didn't clear their lines. It fell to Bell. He side-footed it home from the left side of the penalty area. West Ham 0, Blackburn Rovers 1.
So Michael Brown at the Etihad, where are you on pressure and Graham Potter that he's under?
Listen, we all understand the club that he's taking over and the role that he has, and it's been a historic journey, hasn't it, for managers at Chelsea, under pressure.
getting results is a must, but I just felt like the squad that he's got, not just the manager, questions have been asked, and has he got too many good players? When you're looking for a system and a setup, you sort of go, well, it's not working straight away, I can look to the bench, I'll make that change, the next game comes along, that's another change. But I also think the players have got to really, really look at themselves in this situation. It can't just be the manager, and we've seen some of the results that we've had. He's flexible in his formations, we've seen that already. Great coach, and he needs time to put this right, but unfortunately the pressure will mount, the media will do it, and I think that's what Deno's alluding to, is as a media, do we need to just hang back slightly? This is somebody we want to see on a journey and could be possibly a future England manager.
It was someone we all wanted to see get that job as well. Do you think, though, the problem is for him, because the games are so thick and fast, he hasn't had that time on the training ground? As Ian was saying, he's still trying to work out what his best team, best formation is.
Yeah, for sure, Jules, and that's one of the problems. We discussed it in the Championship as well. I was on something yesterday and saying that the amount of games and not being able to think because of the World Cup. We've seen criticism of the schedule, and so you look at those players and it must be hard. In some ways you almost find your formation if you're limited in numbers. When you look at Chelsea's squad, it's incredible. And I was going to say to Deno, are you surprised, Deno, when you talk about coming to this difficult place? Can he afford to make that as many changes? We've seen Frank Lampard with Everton, but I'm looking, thinking, all those players there, I think he could have went stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's been a really, really intense period for the teams in Europe, and we've seen them make chance, but he's got to give somebody like Ziyech. This is Ziyech's first start under Graham Potter. When I've covered Chelsea in the past, the body language of Ziyech would concern me. Broja obviously doesn't really tend to start a great deal, but Chelsea's priority will be to try and get back into the top four. So therefore, maybe the trip to Newcastle away at the weekend is of a greater importance than this competition.
Well, let's just check in at the Emirates Stadium with John Southall. A couple of early chances, Arsenal-Brighton.
Yep, Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Those chances have both gone to Brighton. Really bright start from them. The first, Danny Welbeck, ex-Arsenal, of course, 6 yards out. Great blocking challenge, deflected over the bar. Then from a corner on the right-hand side, the Paraguayan Julio Enciso on the back post. He headed back across goal and wide of the left post. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Harry Kane playing for Tottenham tonight at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest. John Akers.
And his side are under pressure. Forest have hit the post. It was bizarre. Awonyi hit the post, but it was a clearance from Spurs' Sanchez, which hit him in the shins. Hennessy left it, and it just Forster left it, and it just hit the post. Lingard then followed up with a header, but it was saved. Forest looking good in the early stages, 0-0.
Nathan Jones is at St Mary's for Southampton against Sheffield Wednesday. Jonathan Overend.
Yeah, not too far away. Took a few photographs with some spectators when he came out and took his place in the director's box. He's got his two coaches from Luton with him as well, and he's watching his team struggle to deal with League One Sheffield Wednesday in the early stages here. 11 minutes played, 0-0, and the best chance has gone to Wednesday. Josh Windass threw ball over the top, one-on-one with McCarthy. His shot was a simple one for McCarthy, but he fumbled it, and he was fortunate to see it go wide for a corner. 0-0.
Teams out at the Etihad Stadium. The lights are on. Blackburn are leading West Ham by a goal to 0. Jack Bell scoring that at the London Stadium in the 6th minute to put the Championship side ahead against West Ham. Liverpool against Derby, that's over on 5 Sports Extra. That'll be kicking off very shortly, but we're going to our commentary team to talk you through the first half of Manchester City against Chelsea. Michael Brown is alongside Ian Dennis.
Thanks, Jules. Yes, the standout tie in the League Cup third round here at the Etihad, and I've got to say as well, fair play to the Manchester City supporters, because what this is the third successive home game out of a run of 4 at the Etihad. It'll be a run of games completed with a visit of Brentford on Saturday. Yet there doesn't appear to be too many empty seats, Michael, and you think about, the cost of living crisis, you think about the run up to Christmas. Fair play to the Manchester City supporters for turning out in their thousands, because it looks like it's a full house.
It's a fantastic turnout, and I would have expected that against the Chelsea side. And you look at the show that the club put on as well, a light show, they're trying everything to make it a little bit different. The atmosphere been incredible. All the lounges all around us has got that similar type feel, but this is a cup Manchester City know well. This is something that they say they want it back.
You could say that, couldn't you? It's a repeat of the 2019 League Cup final. They'd won it 4 years in a row from 2018, but of course last year they didn't make the final. Chelsea did, but it was Liverpool who won it for a record 9th time. And Liverpool tonight, in another 8 o'clock kickoff, are at home to Derby County, and commentary of that is on Sports Extra. So both managers have made 7 changes, and these are the 2 lineups. Stefan Ortega is in goal. Rico Lewis, so impressive against Sevilla last week at right back. Ruben Dias and Laporte are the 2 central defenders. Sergio Gomez at left back. Rodri and Gundogan with Cole Palmer, Grealish and Mahrez behind Alvarez. As for Chelsea, they too have made 7 changes, but Mendy is in goal. Lewis Hall, an 18-year-old, makes his first appearance on the left side of defence. We're expecting Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a right wing back, with Koulibaly, Chalobah and Cucurella as a 3, and then you've got Zakaria, Kovacic and Ziyech and Pulisic behind Broja. Blue Moon, the city anthem, is being played here at the Etihad, and it's certainly a blue night where the sky blue of Manchester City take on the royal blue of Chelsea. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. I can tell you that Dundee United, bottom of the table in the Scottish Premiership, are leading Kilmarnock by 1-0 at Tannadice. As we are underway here, our referee is Simon Hooper, and just as a reminder, there is no VAR tonight. And also, if it's level after 90 minutes, we go straight to a penalty shootout. Let's see what unfolds, as there's already been an early goal at Motherwell. Conor McLaughlin.
It's only taken them 15 minutes, Ian, and it was the architect behind it, Matt O'Reilly. He just skiffed the ball past the Motherwell defence into the path of who else but Kyogo for his 11th goal of the season. Motherwell, Celtic lead in this one. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
7-point lead, of course, over Rangers, who are looking to respond after that defeat at McDermott Park at the weekend, as they take on Hearts at Ibrox tonight. But for Manchester City here, in fact, indeed for Chelsea, neither of these 2 sides have been knocked out in the 3rd round for a long, long time. Chelsea, the last time they made an exit at this stage was 2010-11. Manchester City, the campaign of 12-13. So something's got to give tonight, hasn't it?
I was just waiting to see how you're going to line it. I was thinking, yeah, I think that could change then.
Yeah, just a little. Here is Cucurella. Chelsea are playing from right to left. The blonde-haired Hall gets a little touch on this near side. Quite broad in the shoulders as well. What is he, about 5'10", with his cropped hair, as Mendy, ball played back to him. Mendy will give any Chelsea fan the jitters with his footwork. The ball's played back to him. He's closed down by Alvarez. He's lucky it goes behind for a blocked and rebounds out for a goal kick.
I've said this many times, and City are underestimated how quick they press, how brave they are at the front. Alvarez didn't give him a second there. Mendy just waiting and got slightly lucky, but it's Chelsea who are trying to play. That looks like it's in an advanced offside position, but it's not settled down this game. Obviously Cole Palmer, where's his role going to be? The youngster, everybody knows what talent he's got. He seems to have more of a 10 role inside, just supporting Alvarez. Jack Grealish on that left hand side, and as you said, Loftus-Cheek joining that sort of right wing back role. And what a day for Lewis Hall on the left wing back.
I remember when Loftus-Cheek was on loan at Crystal Palace, and Roy Hodgson would often play him on that right-hand side of midfield. He's such an athletic young man, but great versatility as well, now that he's recovered from a lot of the muscle injuries that plagued his early career, and he's certainly been a regular in the Chelsea squad this season. The only game in League One tonight, Shrewsbury Town 0, Oxford United 1. As we'll keep you in touch with the goals as they go in, and all of our reporters at the various games in the 3rd round of this Carabao Cup. You're listening to on 5 Live. Gomez on that far side, Gundogan, and then Laporte across to Ruben Dias. Here is Rico Lewis, who was so good against Sevilla last week on what was his full debut. Capped it off with a goal as Mahrez wriggles away from Pulisic. And Mahrez now passes the ball towards Grealish in a central area, a starting position. And now he darts forward, carries the ball in towards the penalty area. Block comes in from Chalobah, cross then from the left-hand side. And Lewis Hall will not prevent it from going behind for a corner kick to Manchester City. Michael Brown.
Yeah, Rico Lewis turning well, getting out of trouble. Riyad Mahrez sweeps it out to Grealish, really positive.
Corner kick has been taken quickly. Cole Palmer's done well. Sharp turn. Whilst he was doing that, I was keeping my eyes on Jack Grealish, who took a long time to get to his feet. I think he was probably just winded. But, I mean, Pep Guardiola said it himself in the build-up to this game. For Brentford at the weekend, a lot of the players will have one eye on the World Cup. You can't help but thinking a number of them will probably have one eye on the World Cup even now, because any sort of an injury could mean devastation for them, as Reece James has been suffering today. As it's a corner kick to Manchester City on this right-hand side. Mahrez to take it, left-footed, delivered very, very deep, headed out by Chalobah. Gomez will try and hook it in, cleared away at the second attempt by Chalobah, and he really did get under that one, didn't he? Downfield, and it goes out of play for a throw.
So you just look at his players, and you don't want to obviously show injury at times to managers, and when that squad's announced tomorrow, you'd be thinking, I can't show any weakness, I'm going to hold on to it and not show. But listen, let's hope everybody gets through, because you work all your lives as youngsters, so getting a squad like that, it's a big day. We've seen obviously what it's meant to Welsh players already, but the England one tomorrow. Yep. Interesting.
Rob Page has announced his squad in case you missed it, as Palmer is forward on this right-hand side. Cucurella has gone with him, but Palmer goes back down the touchline, has support behind him with Rico Lewis. Short diagonal ball that Gundogan and Palmer quickly onto that. Palmer doing well, squares it. Mahrez central position, out to Grealish, onto his right foot, plays a lovely reverse ball. Gomez across the face of goal, and it goes out of play for another corner kick. Must have taken a deflection on its way through. What about that ball from Grealish?
Yeah, it was a great ball. It looked like he was cutting across the pitch. It was a reverse, wasn't it? A little nutmeg. Gomez comes late, and he puts that ball in right across the 6-yard area. Real good quality. It's a little bit surprised that the runners from City weren't better.
So another corner kick for Manchester City, 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Mahrez on the right, left-footed, goes towards the far post, headed out by Chalobah under pressure, headed further away by Pulisic. So just in case you haven't heard the Wales squad, there are no surprises. Gareth Bale naturally is included. There had been fitness issues with him, and Joe Allen, of course, was probably the one with a greater doubt, but he too has been named in the squad of 26 by Rob Page. And if you're listening to BBC Sounds, or 5 Live on BBC Sounds, the beauty is that you can listen as well as scroll through. So you might want to browse the BBC Sport website, and therefore you can, at your leisure, peruse the 26 names on that squad. And if you haven't got BBC Sounds, then I suggest it would be a good idea ahead of the World Cup that is fast approaching, because all 64 games will be on 5 Live and 5 Sports Extra. A goal at Arsenal, John Southall.
It's gone to Arsenal. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. Eddie Nketiah with his third of the season on the left of the penalty area. Shaped it into the bottom right-hand corner. Really good finish. You can't stop Arsenal at the moment. Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
In the Rugby League World Cup in the women's competition, England are leading Papua New Guinea by 8 points to 4. 7 minutes played here at the Etihad on BBC Radio 5 Live. It's 0-0. Broja loses the ball. Gundogan takes it away from Ziyech. Broja, though, wins it back for Chelsea and takes it away from Laporte and shoots as well. He had Ziyech just coming in off his right shoulder, slightly behind him, so he wouldn't have seen him before he's unleashed a right-footed shot, central position, 25 yards out, over the top, 0-0.
He did really well, very strong, a lot of players all around. He didn't give up. As soon as he got the opportunity, just pushed it round. Laporte got his shot away, but he was always rising. But there's real strong, real desire there.
Cucurella beating Mahrez in the air. Hall for Chelsea gets a free kick. I think it might have been handball from Rico Lewis. So Pep Guardiola is walking out into his technical area. Just alongside him in his black thick coat is Graham Potter, the Chelsea manager, who started his career at Stamford Bridge unbeaten in 9, but has lost 2 of his last 3. Brighton away at his old stomping ground, and then Arsenal at home at the weekend. As Ortega, in a bright, luminous orange goalkeeping outfit, tries to play out from the back. Gundogan returns the ball to him. Chelsea trying to press, but Alvarez drops deep, flicks it towards Grealish, who hares downfield. Strong running by Grealish, enters the penalty area, out to Alvarez, takes it on now, steadies himself, and the shot is turned behind by Koulibaly for a goal kick, 0-0.
It's a great start, wasn't it? Jack Grealish, how positive does he look? That's what I want to see from him. Driving at the defence, going both ways, that little jink, just waiting for the late run. But Alvarez, possibly when he gets into the penalty area, he could be a little bit more unselfish, but he tries to take on the shot.
Grealish with a corner kick, far side the left, headed out only as far as Rico Lewis. Cries of shoot there, instead he passes it to Mahrez, curls over the cross, comes down towards Ruben Diaz, chests it, volleys it, blocked. Grealish edge of the area, he shoots! A lot of the crowd thought that was in. It was a right-footed effort that had Mendy at full stretch, and that looked very, very close.
It's an incredible strike. Ruben Diaz tries it. Jack Grealish, positive, a good run, and he hits it so well, near post. I've not seen Grealish start a game like this for a long, long time.
Let's go to Newcastle. Charlie Slater.
23 minutes gone, Newcastle 0, Palace 0 after 20 uneventful minutes. There's a real danger that we might have a game of football breaking out. Palace have had the game's only noticeable chance just a few moments ago. Really good effort from the angle from Jean-Philippe Mateta, but an excellent save from Nick Pope. Still goalless.
And a goal at St Mary's in front of the watching Nathan Jones. Jonathan Overend.
Yes, I don't think he'll be best impressed at all, because League One Sheffield Wednesday take the lead here. Josh Windass has scored it. It's a lovely finish from him as well, but awful giveaways in midfield from Saints players. First of all, Salisu, and then Adam Armstrong, who then, after giving it away, refused to chase back. Southampton 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
And at Tannadice, bottom of the table, Dundee United have got a second goal at home to Kilmarnock, so 2-0 there in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic are still leading at Fir Park by a goal to 0. At Ibrox it's Rangers 0, Hearts 0, and St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0. From 2 Saints to a sinner, Michael Brown. You talked about Jack Grealish. It was interesting last week against Sevilla here. Certainly in the first half he seemed to slow things down, but as you say, a couple of occasions tonight he's picked up some darting runs.
He has, and I think he's sort of free to go, whether it's that type of game that they feel there's less pressure for Manchester City. But normally he's very safe, he's coming inside, he's keeping the ball, but driving all the way.
11 minutes played, still 0-0. Ball played out. Zakaria, he's been named in the squad for Switzerland today for their party of 26 that'll be travelling to Qatar. Strong running this by young Lewis Hall, picking the ball up, and he was fouled as well. It was a nice turn of pace from the 18-year-old. He plays it left back, can also play in midfield. Made his debut in January against Chesterfield in the FA Cup. As then it's back with Kovacic, a World Cup runner-up 4 years ago. Croatia named their squad today, and Kovacic is in that squad of 26, as you'd expect. And Pulisic, of course, will be going away with the United States when that's confirmed a little later on. And he now wins Chelsea a throw on this near side the left. Still can't get your head around the fact that the World Cup is literally, 12 days away.
Are you going, are you?
I'm not sure yet. Still waiting to be named in 5 Live squad of 26. Penalty at Arsenal, John Southall.
Penalty to Brighton, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, and it's the former player, of course, Danny Welbeck, who will take it. He was brought down by the keeper, Karl Hein, making his debut, the 20-year-old tonight for Arsenal. He slipped, brought down Welbeck, and Welbeck will now take the penalty, and he rolls it into the bottom right-hand corner, and Brighton are back in it. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1.
And whilst we were away listening to that penalty, Chelsea have attacked down the right-hand side. The ball has been crossed by Ziyech. It's a low ball, and Pulisic, well, we'll get Michael's thoughts after this corner kick. Pulisic didn't seem to strike it at all cleanly. In comes the corner, crowded penalty area, headed out by City. Cucurella turns it back towards Pulisic on this near side the right. On the left rather, Cucurella available as an overlap. Plays it back now to Hall, and Manchester City force Chelsea away from their penalty area. Just didn't seem to strike it cleanly, did he?
No, he didn't, as the ball goes out there, but it was a good run down the right-hand side. As the ball comes across, you're thinking it's there, Pulisic just to knock it in, and he misses it. Rico Lewis comes, gets some sort of contact as it ricochets off him. Ortega's gone to the right-hand side thinking there's going to be contact, and then saves it with his feet. Should do better than that.
So it's still 0-0 here on 5 Live. The other 8 o'clock kickoff is on Sports Extra, Liverpool Derby County, where there have been goals though in the League Cup third round. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 1, Southampton 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, and West Ham United 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. John Dahl Thomason is certainly making a good job of it for all things at Ewood Park. Let's get an update from Anfield. Chris Coles.
Like you, we are 14 minutes in. Liverpool 0, Derby County 0. The game being played, as you might expect, entirely in Derby's half. Liverpool's youngsters moving the ball around neatly and tidily, but unable to break through the League One side's defence. Joe Wildsmith hasn't had a save to make, although Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has just volleyed inches wide. 0-0.
Because of the presence of Lewis Hall, Rico Lewis, the right back for Manchester City, went back to Ortega, who chips the ball forward onto Grealish. He was knocked over from behind by Chalobah, and it will be a free kick to Manchester City midway through their own half. To Molineux then, Wolves, Leeds United, Naz Premji.
Wolves 0, Leeds 0, one chance at either end. Leo Hielda had a header cleared off the line by goalkeeper Matija Sarkic, and at the other end, Adama Traore, right-hand side, low drive, which whistled just wide of Joel Robles. Wolves 0, Leeds 0.
This is Pulisic turning, shot blocked, edge of the area, rebounds to Grealish, who plays a nice little ball to Mahrez, now towards Gundogan, quickly releases it forward to Alvarez, stumbles a fraction, still left corner of the area. Alvarez now waits for some support, back towards Gundogan, edge of the area, and this is with Palmer, who's able to turn onto that trusty left foot, down into the ground it goes, and it's easily saved by Mendy. England's women lead Papua New Guinea 14-4 in the Rugby League World Cup. You can watch that on BBC Two. Michael Brown.
It's a good run down the left-hand side, and Alvarez just gets those positions because he's got great energy, great dynamics as he gets down that left, but he's patient, he's on his own, cuts it back, little touch. Cole Palmer, edge of the area, and he's got an eye for goal. Cole Palmer, nobody's seen him play. I think he's been held back by Pep Guardiola. He's the next one off the line, like a Phil Foden. Exceptional talent, gets his shot, just blocked into the goalkeeper, but I think this is a good game for Cole Palmer tonight.
Yeah, Broja trying to wrestle and shrug off the challenge of Ruben Dias. It goes against Broja. Free kick favours Manchester City. Palmer, it was his first start against Sevilla last week, but up until then, 10 substitute appearances so far this season, but a real talent. And as well, if they nurture him the same way that Phil Foden has been nurtured, then they've got another one to come off the conveyor belt. In fact, looking at Rico Lewis last week, they're not short in that department.
They always seem to have a few, but he's exceptional. You'd think he'd have played a lot of Premier League games if he was at another football club, Deno, but he's got to wait here. The competition's hard.
Here he is, a lovely weighted ball for Grealish. Koulibaly dives in, edge of the area, and our referee Simon Hooper giving himself a little bit of thinking time here. It was a lovely ball through by Palmer, perfectly weighted. It's a yellow card for Koulibaly, and Grealish, who's looked particularly sharp tonight, was just too quick for Koulibaly.
He was too quick, and he knows the challenge has come in. We're looking for the replay to see how that goes, but it's right on the edge of the area. But it was a little give and go by Jack Grealish, a little slot through the legs. Jack Grealish is the best when he's going past somebody, when he wants contact. He just seems to win the foul, always comes out the other side. Good play in a dangerous position now for City.
He started very well as Jack Grealish in these opening 17.5 minutes. So it's left of the D. Gundogan, Mahrez, Grealish, and I think the other player is Ruben Dias, who at the moment has got his back to goal. Ruben Dias now walks away, so we've got Mahrez, Grealish and Gundogan who are all eyeing it up. Chelsea have got everybody back inside their penalty area. They've also got a player, I think Broja, in the as the draft excluder, if you like, lying down behind the wall. There's the whistle from referee Simon Hooper. Still they look quite relaxed, not much of a run-up for any of the three likely takers. Gundogan, Grealish, it is Gundogan, and it's over the top, took a deflection just wide, goal kick 0-0, Michael.
Yeah, it's a little deflection, and Ilkay Gundogan hits it so well. Rodri Diaz just causing problems in the goalkeeper's line, but just clips the top of the Chelsea wall for a corner kick, but very close from Gundogan.
Probably needed that deflection, otherwise I think it might well have beaten
chance.
Mendy. Every chance, Michael Brown says. Corner kick far side, it's an away swinger. Attacked with real vigour by Broja, out for a throw. Dundee United have got a third goal against Kilmarnock. So Dundee United 3, Kilmarnock 0, which actually means that Kilmarnock have now dropped to the bottom of the Scottish Premiership as a result of that. Let's get an update from Ibrox. Roddy Forsyth.
And 33 minutes gone here. Rangers would welcome many of 3 goals. I can tell you they've had almost all the possession, but it's an old familiar story. It breaks down on the edge of the box. Only once has Gordon been troubled in the Hearts goal. While Rangers were almost caught out by a break from Ginnelly, it took Davis and McGregor to stop him outside the penalty area at the expense of a corner kick. Still Rangers 0, Hearts 0.
And in the live league table, if you like, because Celtic are 1-0 up at Fir Park, it temporarily means that as it stands, their lead is now 9 points over Rangers at the top of the table. Certainly Rangers cannot afford many more drop points. And in the other game in the Scottish Premiership in Paisley, it's St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 1. Palmer, right side of the penalty area. Mahrez loses it, comes out to Gundogan, takes a deflection, but a lot of the pace of the ball had gone, and it actually sat up quite nicely for Mendy, all in yellow, to make the save.
It looked like it was going in, didn't it? That little deflection. We were all up thinking, here we go. Good press from City. Cole Palmer, a set. Riyad Mahrez tries to get his shot away. Deflects right into Ilkay Gundogan. Another deflection. Nearly caught Mendy.
Here is Pulisic. Pulisic making a strong run through the middle, running at the heart of the City defence. Out it goes towards Ziyech. Ziyech cuts inside. His shot takes a deflection, loops up in the air and drops out of play for a goal kick. Still goalless here at the Etihad. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We're in the 21st minute, and Ziyech will trundle across towards that far side for a corner kick. They've had to soak up a lot of pressure, but occasionally when they are breaking forward,
I think you'd expect that with this side. You know, the talent they've got. Ziyech straight away onto his left foot. And Rick Laporte looks a little bit laboured at the moment.
Corner kick for Chelsea, far side. Ziyech wraps it in towards the near post. Downward header away by Palmer. Back out towards Ziyech, level with the penalty area. Sends in another left-footed cross. Koulibaly dived for it, but it was away from him. One bounce through and into the arms of Stefan Ortega, who's made a couple of appearances in the Champions League, away to Borussia Dortmund, his home debut against Sevilla last week. So this is his first appearance in a domestic competition for Manchester City. And the experienced German goalkeeper, as Manchester City looking to try and extend their winning sequence to 16 matches here at home at the Etihad, where they've been very, very strong. As Gomez to Grealish. Grealish left-hand side, looks up, waits for some support, holds on to the ball, goes back out towards the left, couldn't release it towards Gomez. The interception from Zakaria, and now it's with Broja holding on to the ball, but in the end, no, there was an infringement there. Gets a free kick as well.
Was there? Was that you refereeing there, Deno? Because didn't look too much in it. Good positions, Kari just read it, didn't he? Jack Grealish tried to get away. But they're starting to play the way in, Chelsea slightly, trying to get into some good positions. City are going to have to increase that press as the confidence grows, and there's a bit of space for Chelsea in the middle.
I didn't say if I was refereeing it whether I would have given a free kick. I was just describing the action as it unfolded.
Well, it sounds a little bit different.
I would suspect, Michael, that Pep Guardiola shares your opinion. He just had a word with Paul Tierney, the fourth official. Meanwhile, Chelsea are coming forward. Pulisic has carried the ball a long way. Pulisic to the edge of the area and produces a fine save from Ortega. He was on the stretch. He hit it right-footed on the edge of the area, and then Ortega made the save away to his left. However, on the follow-through, he has caught Laporte, and Laporte has stayed down.
Do you know what's interesting is he's caught Laporte, Deno, and I'm going to say this, the whole medical team have not moved when Laporte goes down. Now, they wait for him because has he got a history of it, or is he injured, is he not? It's a strange one, but it was a great run, wasn't it? Right through the middle. It was committed. And Pulisic, he had runners down that left-hand side from Hall, but he comes inside, gets his shot. That's a good save to the left-hand side.
He's in the provisional squad for Spain. He's back on his feet, and it's a corner kick to Chelsea. We'll be going to West Ham after the corner kick. Still 0-0 here, but Chelsea have got a corner kick far side the right. Ziyech swings it over, headed out by Grealish, bouncing ball on the edge of the area, lifted back in by Kovacic. Koulibaly goes to attack it, good assured handling by Ortega. So to West Ham United, where Blackburn were leading by a goal to nil. Sahel Sahi.
Not no more, Ian. It's West Ham 1, Blackburn 1. It was poor defensive play from the visitors, picked up by Antonio in the inside right channel. He pulled it back for Fornals and he slotted it home from 8 yards away. West Ham 1, Blackburn 1.
Here is Rodri. Alvarez drops to the halfway line. Sergio Gomez passes the ball forward to Grealish for Manchester City in their sky blue shirts and white shorts, playing from left to right. And Rodri stands on the ball in the centre circle, as we'll nip back to St Mary's and Jonathan O'Brien.
Yeah, story brewing. Southampton 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Josh Windass with the goal, and Wednesday have had further chances as well. They're the better team, and the visiting supporters from South Yorkshire are enjoying it. We're going up, they're chanting. You're going down, which of course would involve them meeting next season. Southampton 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Low ball turned in from the left-hand side. Palmer had a swing at it. Wasn't a meaningful connection, and Chelsea were able to get the ball away as he stabbed at it from close range.
It's good work down the left-hand side. Gomez getting that ball right across. Palmer gets in those positions, edge of the area. We need a few more chances, Deno. We're seeing now City break through. Got to get Palmer. Grealish on the ball.
Here is Grealish on that far side. Whilst Michael was talking and there was a slight lull in the play, Rico Lewis came across to this near side, the City right, and was just having a word in his ear by Pep Guardiola. Here is the teenager back with Mahrez. Got forward on many occasions against Sevilla in the Champions League last week. Rodri passes the ball in field. Laporte, every outfield player in the half away towards our right-hand side. It's stroked out towards Gomez. Coming forward now on that left, down towards the byline, and his low cross is gathered in by Mendy. Just thinking, with listening to Jonathan at St Mary's, Southampton against Sheffield Wednesday. Liverpool Southampton is our 3 o'clock game at the weekend. 5 Live Sport from midday. And then indeed Chelsea at Newcastle at 5:30 is our other commentary on Saturday, live from St James's Park, as we're watching Chelsea here. Rodri just dispossessing and doing enough to put off Pulisic. Downfield it goes. Mahrez loses out to the teenage defender Lewis Hall of Chelsea, and back with Mendy. And we've been playing now for 27 minutes and it's still goalless, Michael.
Is Chappers back for Saturday's show? Deno? I'm at Liverpool, but unfortunately I'm not with you.
No, I think he's still on his television duties, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, you know what he's like these days.
He doesn't reply, does he?
No.
Now he does TV and things.
Gone big time, I think. But never mind, don't worry. We'll keep the show going on valiantly. Here is Kovacic back with Koulibaly. Kovacic, forward ball, Pulisic. Tight behind him was Ruben Diaz. And then Zakaria, it bobbled a little bit for him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
That was one of mine, Deno. I beat you to it because you were coming.
I would never do that.
You were looking, it was off his shin, that one. Was it a very good one? Was it gone out? You don't expect that sort of pass, do you, at this level?
No, although he's only his second appearance since he's arrived on loan from Juventus. He's really had to bide his time. The 25-year-old Swiss international. 10 times he's been an unused substitute. Didn't get a look in under Tuchel. Didn't immediately get a look in until that debut against Dinamo Zagreb last week, where he actually scored on his debut. Denis Zakaria. As Michael Brown watching here with us here at the Etihad for BBC Radio 5 Live. A runner-up in the FA Cup. And the best he did in this competition was reaching the last 4 with Sheffield United, as the ball is played in to Alvarez, and it's a sharp turn and he's just put it wide. And in fact, again, another deflection. took it very, very early. Sharp play by City, and it's another corner kick, 0-0.
Yeah, it was good pressing. Riyad Mahrez into Ilkay Gundogan, great little runs, and you see Alvarez just sort of bends it, but there's a good touch. It goes wide, and it's a great chance for City. It was great, wasn't it, from Koulibaly? He just gets across and touches it wide.
It was an instinctive effort from Alvarez. No other goals to tell you about elsewhere on the night. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0, 5 Live. Grealish with a corner kick, far side the left, edge of the area, headed forward by Mahrez, and coming 8 yards off his goal line was Mendy, all in yellow, with the clearance, flat ball downfield, tried to get Ziyech away. That was intercepted by Gundogan. Rodri now towards Palmer. Palmer has Mahrez to his right, but he turns midway through the Chelsea half and along the ground towards Rodri, and Chelsea are forced back once more. Gomez to Grealish. Grealish goes on the outside of Loftus-Cheek, who tries to get back goal side. Grealish runs further back, plays a forward ball. Chalobah tries to stop it. Gomez and Palmer had stayed forward as well. Palmer on that far side, and in the end it's Loftus-Cheek towards Ziyech, who turns midway through his own half, and a diagonal ball that Pulisic can't get on the end of. And at the minute Chelsea can't get hold of the ball long enough.
They can't. It was a great move from the goalkeeper, wasn't it? Ziyech tried to get right in the other side. Ilkay Gundogan just spotted it. Something obviously worked on to try and catch City on their set pieces. Normally see that the other way around, with Ederson doing it very, very quickly. But yeah, it's a little bit disjointed when they get going, Chelsea. Don't seem to be as fluid as you'd expect.
St Mirren won, St Johnstone won. And a lot of people talk about how Tottenham are slow starters. That's been a feature of a lot of the Chelsea games.
You're not slow with your starters, are you then?
Touché. I've seen a lot. You've flummoxed me. I've seen that a lot with Chelsea under Graham Potter, where they're slow to start.
I mean, we've got to be careful how we go with Graham Potter and Chelsea with this group of players. It's going to take a time. I think there's too many good players at this moment.
Here is Rodri, doesn't shoot, plays the ball into Rico Lewis with the cross, fist across the face of goal from the right hand side. Nobody with the touch. It's the type of service that Erling Haaland would have swallowed up, if you'd pardon the eating pun.
Yeah, you'd have expected somebody being around him. I've said a few times, haven't we, the runs. City are that used to the ball being cut back at times that nobody's getting into those areas across the goalkeeper. It's a great ball right across.
Lovely reception there for Raheem Sterling, just warming up for Chelsea, and some of the City supporters rising to their feet to acknowledge Raheem Sterling.
You forget how good he was here.
Yeah.
It was amazing performances at times, and it just obviously fell away at the end, but the top player for Manchester City.
Yeah. 11 major honours, 5 League Cups during his time at Manchester City. Still 0-0. There's a penalty at Southampton. Jonathan Overend.
Yeah, and Southampton are fortunate, they've got it, but they've been the inferior of the two teams over these 45 minutes. Sheffield Wednesday leading by 1-0, but the ball's on the spot, and James Ward-Prowse, who I suppose is on that fringe list for tomorrow, is about to take it against David Stockdale. Here he comes, strikes it into the net, down the middle. Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Let's get a half-time score from Nottingham Forest. John Akers.
Forest 0, Spurs 0. Forest have had the best of the chances. They've had an effort hit the post. Bizarre, Awonyi. It was a clearance that came off his shins. Worrell's gone close as well. And Doherty with Spurs' best effort. A right foot shot saved by Hennessy. Forest 0, Spurs 0.
There's a lot of games at 7:45. We'll be going around to get all the half-time scores. This is an 8 o'clock kick-off, still 0-0. So we'll try and weave them in with any of the action, and another one of those is in the Scottish Premiership at Fir Park. Connie McLaughlin.
Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. Celtic in control after that early Kyogo strike. Well, I say strike, it was more of a tap in really after the ball had been fed through by Matt O'Reilly. Kevin Van Veen had hit the post just before that, but since that Motherwell have been pretty passive, I think it's fair to say. But if Celtic have learned anything from Dundee United's late equaliser on Saturday, they want to make this a little bit more convincing in the second half. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Talking of Dundee United, half-time at Tannadice, they lead Kilmarnock 3-0. Ball played over the top, offside against Ziyech. It remains goalless. So we'll get the half-time now from Newcastle. Charlie Slater.
Newcastle 0, Palace 0, goalless at the break. Both sides half chances, nothing more. The best of the lot fell to Palace forward Jean-Philippe Mateta halfway through the first 45. Fired low at the near post. Really strong effort, but an excellent save from Nick Pope. Newcastle's best chance on the half-hour mark. Elliot Anderson should have done better than drag a tame effort straight at the goalkeeper. The game's missing its stars. Half-time, Newcastle 0, Palace 0.
Not missing anything whilst we've been away at the Etihad here. It's 0-0. Talking of stars, look at the Manchester City bench. Calvin Phillips, John Stones, Ake, Haaland, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Akanji and Foden. Talk about strength in depth. Half-time at Molineux. Now's Premji.
Wolves 0, Leeds 0. Plenty of effort and endeavour from both. Best chance, Leo Hielder's header for Leeds, cleared off the line by Wolves keeper Sarkic. At the other end, Adama Traore's right side low drive fizzed wide. Wolves 0, Leeds 0.
Cross from the right-hand side, repelled by the Chelsea defence. Kovacic holds it up. Pulisic touches the ball forward. Hall on this left-hand side now sprays a diagonal ball. Ziyech is trying to get there. Laporte was on the stretch and did well, and he had to get there on the edge of the area, Michael Brown.
It's a wonderful ball from Hall. I'm thinking, why has he played it so early? But it was pinpoint. And Emerick Laporte, great recovery. Ziyech coming really quickly. He'd obviously just been caught previously. Big tackle. It was one of those. He had to get it right, bottom of his studs to clear it away.
Still Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. We've been playing for nearly 35 minutes. Southampton, Sheffield Wednesday, half-time. Jonathan Oberon.
Half-time at Sheffield Wednesday, well, it's 1-1. They took the lead through Josh Windass, but that James Ward-Prowse penalty very late in the first half after a trip on Gineppo means Southampton avoid perhaps being booed off at half-time because they gave the ball away so much in that first half. It was a good effort from the League One side. Half-time, Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
3 more half-time reports to come, but Grealish now is away on the left-hand side. He looks to go on the outside of Chalobah, and his slow cross is gathered in by Mendy at his near post. Arsenal-Brighton, John Southall.
Stride of took the lead. Nelson flying down the left-hand side, played in Eddie Nketiah. He shaped it into the right corner. Really good finish that. The equaliser, Carl Hein on debut slipped, brought down Danny Welbeck. Welbeck dispatched the penalty, first of the season for him. Good half. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1.
Lewis Hall forward for Chelsea. Foul, free kick, still 0-0. Half-time at Ibrox now. Rangers Hearts, Roddy Forsyth.
Rangers 0, Hearts 0. Rangers have had 3 attempts. Sands, Lundstram and Cholak all forcing Gordon into saves, but Josh Ginnelly had the best chance of the game for Hearts, and it took McGregor and Davis to thwart him at the expense of a corner kick. Scoreless at half-time at Ibrox.
St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 1 is a half-time score, and back to the capital we go. Sahel Sahi at West Ham.
West Ham 1, Blackburn 1. Blackburn the better team and worthy of their lead after 6 minutes. Jack Bell with his first goal for Rovers, a calm and composed finish. West Ham then against the run of play equalised. Antonio combining with Fornals for the Spaniard to level things up. West Ham 1, Blackburn 1.
9 minutes to go to the break here at the Etihad, still 0-0. Ziyech carries the ball forward on the right-hand side. Zakaria inside to Kovacic, central position. Cucurella joins the attack, now the left wing-back Hall. Left corner of the area for Chelsea in their royal blue shirts and shorts and white socks, playing from right to left. Back it goes to Cucurella. And now with Kovacic, and now probably for probably the first time in this game, and didn't last long, every outfield player was in the City half away towards our left. Pulisic now has got forward. He's held up by Ruben Diaz. Pulisic tries to come forward and he finds the feet of Broja. Left side of the penalty area. Tries to get past Laporte. Laporte and Diaz, between them, deal with Broja's threat, and Rodri will bring it away. And it never looked a great threat either.
No, but he did well, Broja. He put them right on the back foot because he pushes it into the penalty area. Diaz, Laporte all getting across, so he's getting squared up, all both arms up, but Diaz comes across. Pep Guardiola and his trainers in tracksuit, we normally see him a little bit smarter just because it's the cup competition. He's not pleased, he's agitated, he's coming out of the technical area, and you know he demands more from this side.
Well, it's the 4th meeting between these two in the history of the League Cup. The last was that 2019 final that was goalless. City winning it 4-3 on penalties, and certainly in the minute, it's haven't had.
Is that when we had the problem with the goalkeepers?
Yeah, that was with when Kepa refused to come off, much to the annoyance of Maurizio Sarri.
He said afterwards there was nothing in it, he didn't know what everyone was talking about. Well, there was.
Free kick, Simon Hooper. Just feels a little bit flat, doesn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, you understand that. I mean, I did say to you, didn't I? I felt it was a little bit safe at times, but then you just want someone to do something in the wider areas, and I keep saying Grealish, Mahrez. We've seen for Chelsea, haven't we? Pulisic getting the most joy, really.
Certainly Grealish, when he saw a lot of the ball in the early stages, looked a threat. He went close, and then he got a free kick that Gundogan had it deflected over. It looked a goal-bound effort, whereas Pulisic has had a tame effort that was easily saved by Ortega from a Chelsea point of view. But we've got just over 6 minutes to go to half-time. 8 o'clock kickoff, of course, at Anfield. Chris Coles.
Yeah, 6 to play until half-time here. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. The League One side will be pretty pleased with the opening 40 minutes. They've largely suppressed Liverpool and are beginning to show signs of life going forward themselves. Erin Cashin on his 21st birthday heading over the crossbar. Liverpool, unsurprisingly, still the better side, but not really creating anything of note. Liverpool 0, Derby 0.
Commentary of that is on Sports Extra. Ball given away. Alvarez unable to profit. Cleared first time by Koulibaly. Taken very, very well on the chest by Laporte, who just about gets it back towards Ortega. And then the outlet is Rodri running back midway through his own half to provide the option for Ortega. And now they build from the back, Manchester City. And a bit of area for Cole Palmer to run into. Rico Lewis provides the support on this near right-hand side. And Gundogan now takes over 25 yards out from goal. He invites Lewis to come forward. Mahrez, without really going anywhere. Chelsea, with the exception of Broja, have everybody back in and around their penalty area, and they break up that move, and Lewis Hall will pass the ball forward towards Pulisic, but is dispossessed by Rodri, who passes it inside towards Grealish. And Grealish running forward. On the outlet, on the left-hand side, is Sergio Gomez, but it was a little bit behind him, and the move has slowed down a fraction. And although Grealish takes over, the Royal Blue Shirts are back behind the ball once more, and that's the problem for Manchester City.
Yeah, it is. Once that attack just slows, the build-up starts again. I think that suits Chelsea.
Here is Alvarez in the left side of the penalty area, out to Gomez. Second half of the Rugby League Women's World Cup. England 18, Papua New Guinea 4. That's on BBC 2. This is Gundogan to Grealish. Grealish edge of the area. Grealish with the shot, and a very good save by Mendy. It was off his right foot. It was dipping. Mendy away to his left with a strong save.
That was great build-up, little play. Ilkay Gundogan instrumental, getting into good areas, but once Grealish got into the box, pulled it onto his right, edge of the area. It was a good shot right across the goalkeeper. He probably sees it late with his left hand, just pushes it wide.
There's a strong arm with the left hand there from Mendy, bouncing up and down, waiting for the corner. They played it short. Back to Mahrez on the right-hand side, stands over the cross, easily claimed, plucked out of the air by Mendy. All in yellow, of course. Senegal's goalkeeper, and real concern for Sadio Mane, although I noticed that when the French World Cup squad was announced tonight, Raphael Varane, you might recall, he left the field in real distress when he was injured recently for Manchester United, but he's been named in the squad of 26 for France, along with Liverpool's Konate. Spain named their squad on the 11th. We've got 3 minutes to go to half-time in this night of League Cup action on BBC Radio 5 Live. And talking of Manchester United, tomorrow we'll have more from you for you from Old Trafford. Manchester United against Aston Villa from 7, live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Cucurella then bringing the ball forward into Kovacic, his forward ball, and Broja, little flat-footed, went past him, and Ruben Dias was able to tidy up for Manchester City. Ortega hasn't really had too many scares, has he, in the Manchester City goal?
That was the one that was sort of ricocheted, wasn't it? For Rico Lewis. That was the one. He looked like he dived to the right-hand side and just come back, saved it with his feet.
Manchester City coming once more from that left-hand side. Rodri goes long into the penalty area. Mendy with the catch inside his penalty box once more. This is a Manchester City side who this season, 10 straight wins at home and they've scored at least 2 in each game at home, as Bernardo Silva is warming up. Half-time in the solitary game in League One. Shrewsbury 0, Oxford United 1. Grealish, his cross from the left-hand side takes a deflection into the arms of Mendy, who bowls the ball out, overarm style. A reminder of the cricket, the T20 World Cup second semi-final tomorrow on Sports Extra from 7:30. Pulisic to Lewis Hall. Hall in the penalty area, and the save by the legs of Ortega. Lewis Hall had an opportunity really to make a name for himself there on only his second appearance for Chelsea. Unmarked inside left channel the penalty area, didn't strike it cleanly, and Ortega with the save.
It's a big chance for Chelsea. The overload was really, really good. Pulisic was the one central, just glides past people, has the awareness to get his head up. Lewis Hall on that left foot, thinking he's going to strike. Rico Lewis coming tight, just comes into his right foot. And you see Ortega come, stays really, really big. It's a good save, but what a chance for Lewis Hall.
It was nicely worked by Chelsea, wasn't it, from the right-hand side. Central position for Pulisic, slipped it out towards Lewis Hall, and as he came on the inside, Ortega, standing tall, made the save with an outstretched right leg.
It's a good save, you know. Do you know how he stays like that? He anticipates, and yes, the shot with his right foot wasn't as clean. I think you've got to go across the goalkeeper. It's easy saying that, but he's run a long way, show composure to get it inside Rico Lewis, but expect him to do a touch better.
Here is Kovacic now driving forward from midfield. Broja is ahead of him. Pulisic is also in support. He was aware of Pulisic's presence, and as he's passed the ball left-hand side, it's just taken a deflection to take it behind Pulisic from the edge of the area. Otherwise, again, that would have been another threatening attack from Chelsea, who are just starting to come into the game in the closing stage of this first half, 0-0.
They're just finding the space. They're in the back of Rodri. Once the full-backs are a little bit higher as well.
Just the additional 60 seconds that we're now into here in the first half on BBC Radio 5 Live, where it is 0-0. Rodri, flat ball out towards Gomez. Lets it settle, plays it in, sliced by Koulibaly. Cleared by Chelsea, only as far as Sergio Gomez once again. Gives it back towards Grealish, and then Grealish under the challenge with Loftus-Cheek. And he goes down, and the referee's given a free kick there for Manchester City for that challenge on Loftus-Cheek on Grealish, although I can't help but feel that Grealish was already on his way down before contact was initiated.
He's unbelievable at drawing a free kick. Once he pushes it and uses his pace and commits somebody, and he is going down, and he engineers it, managed to make the referee give him it every time. And no wonder the Chelsea players are storming across to Simon Hooper to say it shouldn't have been. Right at the end of the half now, you can imagine, Kai, if this goes in, what the reaction of these Chelsea players will be like.
So Manchester City in their sky blue shirts and white shorts, playing from left to right, have a free kick just 2 or 3 yards up from the byline. It's left of the penalty area. Chelsea have everybody back. In it comes from that left-hand side. It's an outswinger. Loftus-Cheek gets his head onto it, and then in fact that is the end of the action. So the half-time whistle is sounded by referee Simon Hooper, and it's 0-0. Where Jack Grealish has been at the heart of everything that Manchester City have done. He's gone close on a couple of occasions towards the end of the half. Mendy with a very good save to his left. Pulisic for Chelsea's had a tame effort, but by far the best chance falling to young Lewis Hall, who 60 seconds before half-time forced a very good save from Ortega. Michael Brown.
Yeah, it was a great save. Obviously a couple of opportunities for Chelsea. The best one, as you said, to Lewis Hall as he burst into the area, brought it on his right foot. But it's great work. Pulisic has been really, for me, Chelsea's best player. Jack Grealish has tried to make things happen very early on in the half. I thought he committed. He was running forward with pace and intensity. We've seen Ilkay Gundogan free kick, but I would imagine Pep Guardiola would want a little bit more from his side in the second half.
So half-time at the Etihad. It's Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. Jules.
Thank you, Ian, and to you too, Michael Brown. Back with you for the second half. Danny has texted in 85058 if you want to get involved, saying Hall has been brilliant. Wonder if he'll get the nod for the Newcastle game. Simon says a City goal is inevitable. Chelsea aren't winning the midfield battle. Derby are holding Liverpool at Anfield, Chris Coles.
They are Liverpool 0, Derby 0. Liverpool dominating possession, there's no surprise there, but they're not doing a great deal with it. Half chances created at best. 20-year-old Leighton Stewart, one of 5, making their full debuts in red, off balance as he attempted to shoot goalwards inside the penalty area. Kostas Tsimikas and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain have both volleyed wide from range, but that's about it from this young Liverpool side. Derby have done exactly as you'd expect. Sit in, not overcommit, but they have looked dangerous on the counter-attack. Nathaniel Mendez-Lang looking particularly lively. Erin Cashin heading their best chance over the bar, but they are very much in this, make no mistake about that. Liverpool the holders 0, League One Derby 0.
And Chris, very quickly, Paul Ward, with what you were saying then, will be pretty happy with what he's seen so far?
He'll be very happy with what he's seen so far, Jules. Yeah, the game plan fairly obvious, even though I suspect he would have looked at this Liverpool side before and thought, well, lads, you've got a chance here, because there are 5 making their debuts, 20 younger, and this Derby team fairly experienced. Go and get at them, go and have fun and enjoy it and see what you can get. And they have created chances, although Liverpool, they still look dangerous and have the likes of Roberto Firmino on the bench to bring on and Darwin Nunez. But I suspect the happier of the two managers will absolutely be Paul Warne.
Thanks very much, Chris. Back up and running in tonight's 7:45 kickoffs as well. England, Papua New Guinea in the Rugby League World Cup, the Women's World Cup. England 26, Papua New Guinea 4. You can watch that right now on BBC Two. Tomorrow morning from 7:30, live commentary as well of India against England in the second semi-final of the T20 World Cup. That's on 5 Sports Extra. And we're going to be talking more about the Wales World Cup squad, which has been announced tonight. Joe Allen has made it, and all that will come after all the latest news from Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Jules. Good evening. Nurses across the UK have voted in favour of a walkout over pay. The action is expected to start by the end of the year, but will only affect non-urgent care. Strikes will take place in areas where the turnout in the ballot met the legal requirement in England, Wales and Scotland. Nurses will also take action in Northern Ireland. Health Secretary Steve Barclay has described the ballot result as disappointing. Here's Labour's Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting.
Even after the Royal College of Nursing announced it was balloting for the first time in their 106-strong history, not a single Secretary of State for Health, and goodness knows we've had enough of them in recent months, have sat around the table with the RCN. I think that is negligent, I think it's irresponsible, and it means that strike action that could have been avoided is now much more likely to take place.
The Foreign Office has confirmed it's supporting the family of a British national who's been killed fighting in Ukraine. In a Facebook post, Simon Lingard's family said he was killed on Monday when his unit was attacked. The commander of Russian forces in Ukraine has announced the withdrawal of his troops from much of the occupied city of Kherson. Our security correspondent Frank Gardner says it's a retreat from Russia and thinks we should be cautious about their next move.
On paper, this is, as one pro-Kremlin Russian blogger put it, a black day in the history of the Russian army. But be wary, because if this is a bigger defeat as it looks, then Russia is likely to retaliate, almost certainly by hitting Ukrainian cities and punishing the civilian population.
A predicted surge in support for the Republican Party has failed to emerge in the US midterm elections, with the battle for control of Congress tighter than many had expected. The Republicans do look set to take the House of Representatives. And a man's been detained by police after appearing to throw eggs at the King and Queen consort as they were on a walkabout in York earlier. The royal couple were visiting the city to unveil a new statue of the late Queen Elizabeth.
5 Live Sport with Juliet Farrington.
Approaching 8 minutes to 9 o'clock, so the 7:45 kickoffs. There are 6 of them in the EFL Cup round tonight are underway, and there's been an early goal at the City Ground for John Akers.
And it's come from Nottingham Forest, and it's an absolute perler. Forest 1, Spurs 0. It's Renan Lodi with his first goal for the club. Picks it up in the left back spot after Jesse Lingard nudged it into his path, and he just drifted towards the edge of the 18-yard box. He cut in on his right foot, a curler, perfect past Forster. Forster stretching to his left, right in the corner. It's Forest 1, Spurs 0.
Thanks, John. In our commentary game at the Etihad Stadium, it's Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. In the commentary game on 5 Sports Extra at Anfield, Derby are holding Liverpool to a goalless draw in that one. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 1, Newcastle United 0, Crystal Palace 0. You've just been hearing there from John. Forest have taken the lead against Tottenham Hotspur 1-0. Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, West Ham United 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. 1, and at Molineux it's Wolves 0, Leeds United 0. A good time to remind you that if any matches end level after 90 minutes, then they go straight to penalties. So Wales have named Swansea's Joe Allen as part of their 26-man squad for the World Cup in Qatar. Allen, of course, hasn't played since picking up a hamstring injury back in September. Luton's Tom Lockyer also makes the squad. Rhys Norrington-Davies of Sheffield United misses out, though. He's got a hamstring problem. Captain Gareth Bale will be heading to his third major tournament in 6 years. He says he feels fully fit and ready to go.
It's good. Obviously, I had a slight problem a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I'm over that now. And good to come onto the pitch, get a few minutes, get some nice confidence going into the World Cup, and yeah, set myself up nicely. And yeah, now a couple of weeks to go, and looking forward to it.
Obviously, you'll meet up very soon with the rest of the squad. Will there be extra excitement? Because, of course, it is a World Cup. It's massive. Our first World Cup for 64 years.
Yeah, no, there's massive excitement. I think even the last few weeks, it's been in the back of my mind, knowing that there's such a big competition around the corner, and you see everybody having problems, then they're maybe going to miss it. So it's mentally difficult for everybody at the moment, because they really want to be involved and they really want to go to a World Cup. And I suppose when we all meet up, there'll be added excitement rather than a normal camp, but one that we need to all focus on, work hard, and get mentally and physically prepared for such a big occasion.
Third major tournament in 6 years. You've been through them all. How much has this group of players developed, do you think, over that period of time?
Yeah, it's been an amazing period in Welsh football. I think we've really pushed the bar, the level high, and even the younger players that have come in, we've been able to kind of help them transition into the mentality, the character that this team has. And yeah, it's just keep progressing. We have a good mix of youth and experience, and I think it's put us in a good place for now and in the future. And yeah, it's exciting times for Welsh football.
Gareth Bell there speaking to Catherine Helleth from BBC Wales. Rob Phillips of BBC Radio Wales can join us now. Hello there, Rob.
Hi, Jules.
Shemai.
Yeah, da iawn, diolch. Very well, thank you, Jules, yeah.
Good. Back in the Valleys, though, Rob. Felt really special to be there for you, talking to Rob Page and the announcement and the small crowd that were in there. No real surprises, though, in that squad, was there?
No, it was, funny enough, I was talking to your colleague Tony Livesey on Drive earlier, and he said it seemed like a celebration rather than just a squad announcement. And I think he was absolutely spot on. The bucket hats were out in force. Everybody in the Tylerstown Welfare Hall were wearing their Wales shirts. And yes, I have to say, Rob Page was true to his word. He'd said all along that he didn't think there would be too many surprises. I don't think there was one surprise. I suppose mildly surprised by Tom Lockyer, who's not played for Wales since Finland in 2021. But Rhys Norrington-Davies was out injured, so he needed another centre-half. And Lockyer was the man. So, yeah, I don't think there were too many shocks in this squad whatsoever.
It felt intimate. It felt really intimate, though. The whole announcement, the whole staging of it, taking Rob Page back to the Ronda.
Yeah, do you know what? I tell you what summed it up for me. There was a long-standing Red Wall fan, as we call them in Wales, the Red Wall, who support Wales through thick and thin. A lot of thin, but plenty more lately, plenty to enjoy. And she said to me, do you know, Rob, she said, the United States national team are announcing their squad in a few minutes' time.
In the Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building lit up. And she said, but this is us. This is where we are. And it was just brilliant. And Rob Page had a great day going round his old community. They think the world of him there, obviously. And it was like a celebration of something, because Wales hasn't done this for 64 years. And then one or two from the 1958 team, the great Cliff Jones and Terry Medwin were there as well. And they didn't have anything like this when they went to Sweden in 1958. Now, Wales are on the brink of their second World Cup.
And Gareth Bale, just listening to him there, talking to Catherine, talking about how the last few weeks, you know, has played in the back of his mind. Mentally, it's been quite difficult. Joe Allen, it must have been tough for him.
Yeah, Joe Allen is a really interesting one, Jules, in that we know what Gareth Bale can do. He has moments that can change games, just as he proved on Saturday night, playing for LAFC when he went on when they were down to 10 men and scored an equaliser in extra time that took the game to a penalty shootout that they won against Philadelphia Union. That's what Gareth Bale does. He does it when, like all great players, when they most need to do it. Joe Allen is massive for Wales, short in stature, but such a big influence, 70-odd caps. Rob Page said, look, we will do everything we can to get him ready, because if he's fit, he plays for Wales. He sets the tempo for Wales. And I'm reminded, I'm sure you remember this, Jules, back in 2016 when Wales got to France and really crossed the Rubicon, qualifying for their first major tournament for then 58 years, they had the similar fitness problem with Joe Ledley. They had a guy called Sean Connolly, their head of medical at the FA of Wales, working on Ledley. It was miraculous that he actually played. He became a cult hero just by playing and playing a big part in that unbelievable run to the semi-finals. Well, the same man is working with Joe Allen, and so they're trying to make the miracle happen again.
Well, let's see if Joe Allen can perform the Joe Ledley dance in the Euro 2016, that little shuffle. Rob, thank you so much. Have a safe trip over there. We'll see you in Qatar. We've also got a big Wales preview show coming up next Tuesday on 5 Live Sport from 7. And we're going to be having interviews with some of the players and a chat with them before they head off to Qatar. We're going to head off to the City Ground now. John Akers, more goals for you.
Spurs could be heading out here. It's Forest 2, Spurs 0. Jesse Lingard with his first Forest goal. Lovely breakaway down the right hand side, cross to the far post. Surridge headed it back across. Lingard ghosted in between two defenders, 6 yards out, glancing header past Fraser Forster and in. Spurs have not come out in this second half at all, conceded 2 quick goals. They're about to make a triple change as far as I can see, one of them being Richarlison. Don't forget Harry Kane playing for Spurs. Conte went really strong, only 3 changes. They've got it all to do. It's Forest 2, Spurs 0.
Jesse Lingard dancing again. Any dancers where you are, John Southall?
I'll tell you what, Julia, this has been an unbelievable start to the second half as Arsenal again come pushing forward, looking for the goal to make it 2-1. I make it, they've had 5 chances in the opening 10 minutes of this second half. The first Lokonga 25-yarder flew right at the post, and Nketiah on the left of the area off the inside of the left post. I think Jason Steele just got a touch to it. Reece Nelson then over the bar, deflected. Nelson again, header from 6 yards, saved by Steele. They couldn't turn in the follow-up, and then Lokonga just flashed a shot wide from the edge of the area, just from the left past the left post. Good chance, that one as well. So it's been some start. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1.
Thanks, John. Any good where you are, Charlie? Newcastle Palace?
58 gone, still 0-0, but starting to get a little bit more stretched this game now. Big Dan Burn headed straight into the ground from 6 yards out, unmarked a few moments ago for Newcastle. Should have done better. Palace starting to creak somewhat at the back. Neither side have made a change yet, but Bruno Guimaraes and Miguel Almiron are both warming up on the side of the pitch for Newcastle. Still goalless.
Thanks, Charlie. Harry Kane, one of those players to come off at the City Ground, but we are assured he's not injured. Antonio Conte making changes there. Jonathan Overend, what have you got for us?
Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1 into the second half, actually approaching the hour mark. 2 clear sights of goal in the second half for Adam Armstrong, but he's put both wide. Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Naz Premji at Molineux, Wolves against Leeds.
Wolves 0, Leeds 0. A really good cross from Ait Nouri, a flick from Conor Ronan, which was saved by Joel Robles. That's the best we've had this period. Wolves 0, Leeds 0.
Sahel, West Ham against Blackburn Rovers at the London Stadium.
Yeah, one apiece here, Juliet. Just coming up to the hour mark here. West Ham have started the second half really brightly. Lanzini with his goal-bound effort blocked, and then Antonio with a flick which hit the post. West Ham 1, Blackburn 1.
Into the Scottish Premiership at Ibrox, Rangers against Hearts. Roddy Forsyth.
Rangers 0, Hearts 0. It's scoreless here, as you can tell, and but it wouldn't have been if Andy Halliday hadn't been unsighted at a whipped cut back from Ginnelly. It just skipped in front of his toe, and that would have been 1-0 surely. At the moment, no. Rangers 0, Hearts 0, and you can hear what the crowd think about it.
And Connie, what have you got at Fir Park? Motherwell against Celtic?
It's still Celtic leading this one. The ball was in the back of the net for Celtic, Jules. To be fair, it's probably one of the best goals I think I'd seen all season. Some trickery from Kyogo on the halfway line. Found Jota, he chipped the goalkeeper, but VAR ruled it off for offsides.
Thanks, Connie. In the other games in the Scottish Premiership, there are 4 tonight. In the other 2 matches, latest scores: Dundee United 3, Kilmarnock 0, and St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 1. They are back out at the Etihad Stadium. Second half commentary, Michael Brown and Ian Dennis.
Perfect timing, Jules, as we're back underway here at the Etihad. It's 0-0. Chelsea in their royal blue shirts and shorts, white socks, playing from left to right as we look against the Manchester City side in their sky blue shirts and white shorts. Therefore, from right to left, neither side has made a change. Ortega is in goal for the home team. Rico Lewis at right back, Ruben Dias, Aymeric Laporte and Sergio Gomez the defence. Rodri, Gundogan and Jack Grealish, Cole Palmer, Mahrez and Julian Alvarez complete the City lineup. Very, very strong looking bench for the reinforcements. Just a question of if or when Pep Guardiola is to call them into the fray. As for Chelsea, I'll give you their side as the ball just bypasses Alvarez and runs through to Mendy, who's in goal, all in yellow, away towards our left-hand side. Loftus-Cheek is the right wing back. Lewis Hall, who's certainly caught the eye, as a left wing back, and then the 3 central defenders are Cucurella, Chalobah and Koulibaly, who was booked in the first half. Zakaria, Kovacic in the midfield, with Pulisic and Ziyech supporting Broja. There's been a goal at Arsenal. John Southall.
Totally against the run of play. Arsenal 1, Brighton 2. He came on at half-time. Karo Mitoma on the left of the penalty area and curled it into the bottom right-hand corner. Brilliant finish. 6,000 Brighton fans are celebrating. Arsenal 1, Brighton 2.
Not a good night for North London, with Nottingham Forest leading Tottenham by 2-0. Elsewhere in the League Cup, it's Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, West Ham United 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. So at Newcastle United, Crystal Palace, Wolves Leeds, Liverpool Derby, and this one all goalless. Remember, no extra time, straight to penalties, and could be like a circus act in the. With bearing in mind that a lot of the games were at 7:45, just thinking, don't answer that. I know you think I'm Coco the Clown, but in terms of the juggling, you're thinking at the minute we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 7:45s are still level, trying to get a penalty shootout whilst we're commentating on this game as Cole Palmer has run the ball out of play. Michael Brown.
You like a challenge though, Deno? You'd be looking forward to that.
I like a challenge when I'm working with you.
You know, it's just gone a little bit flat, this game. We're thinking, are those changes going to come? You talked about Manchester City's bench, but Chelsea have got a lot of players on that bench, some top ones, and I'm thinking, should he have left them? The onus was more on Chelsea, but they've had some good opportunities in this game.
Well, they've neatly played it out from the back, beaten the Manchester City press. Cucurella on the left-hand side into to Kovacic. Maybe showed a fraction too much to Mahrez, but he's gone the long way round to retain the ball, and now he's just been caught by Alvarez. And Alvarez now feeds it to Mahrez. Mahrez enters the penalty area. Mahrez goes down in the challenge from Cucurella, and the referee has a look at it and says no. And the beauty of that, there's no VAR, and we can just continue.
So
let the referees referee. Old school.
It is strange, isn't it? You're looking over your shoulder, think what's going to happen next, and somebody goes into the penalty area. There's something going to be there, but as we see the replay back, it was sloppy from Chelsea. Alvarez presses very well, but I think the ball should have been better in front of Riyad Mahrez as he checks back. Cucurella just comes across, just pokes it away. As we see it back, got that correct. Good decision from the referee.
Very good decision from the referee. As you say, he was on the stretch and he poked it, I think, with the studs of his boot by Cucurella. He had to make sure he got that one right. We'll go to St Mary's now. Jonathan Overend.
Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, it remains, but an incredible double clearance off the goal line from Michael Huikwe for Wednesday. Theo Walcott on as a second half substitute, picked up a misplaced clearance, shot, cleared, walk back to Walcott, round the keeper, shot again, cleared off the line. 1-1.
Manchester City are going to make a double change. Bernardo Silva and Calvin Phillips. Why do you think he's waited just 4 minutes into the second half to make this change? Why not make it at half time?
I don't know. You're looking at that and you're thinking, so is it something for confidence? Does he want to give one of his players, a round of applause? You don't always think that with Pep Guardiola, but you see Ilkay Gundogan is the one. And obviously everyone appreciates the role that he does, and ultimately Pep Guardiola's got huge respect for Ilkay Gundogan, that's for sure. I'm waiting to see who the other one is.
So Gundogan is going to be coming off, Bernardo Silva, and it's Rodri. So Bernardo Silva will replace Gundogan. And what a moment this is, not just for Manchester City and for Calvin Phillips, but potentially for Gareth Southgate and England, because Calvin Phillips, after a shoulder operation, he's missed the last 11 games. He's only played 14 minutes of football for Manchester City in his 3 previous substitute appearances, and after a shoulder operation, he's going to get a good run out here of 40 minutes, the perfect timing on the eve of England's World Cup squad announcement.
Yeah, I'm so pleased for him as well. He's worked so hard. He's been very unfortunate since he signed for Manchester City with those couple of little injuries and then that operation. He's a top player, great professional, and I know he's well liked all around the football club, and it's great to see him back.
Bernardo Silva out to Grealish. Grealish now carries the ball, enters the penalty area, onto his right foot, good save, beaten out by Mendy, comes to Mahrez, Mahrez with a shot, blocked by Hall. I've got to say, Lewis Hall has been so impressive for Chelsea tonight. Behind for a corner kick, Mahrez wants to take it quickly. Chelsea aren't ready for it. Roll to Palmer, back towards Mahrez, right-hand side. Low ball in, Grealish first time, another good save by Mendy. Mendy's keeping out Grealish. That's his 3rd excellent save to keep him at bay. Grealish can't believe it. He's smiling, but he must be so frustrated.
Look at Jack Grealish smiling. What does he need to do in this game? Just comes right across from the short corner. Riyad Mahrez spots him out, edge of the penalty area. The connection's okay, right in the corner.
In comes the cross, only as far as Mahrez, down into the ground and blocked. And it will be back with Manchester City. Still 0-0, Rico Lewis. Now with Mahrez, just starting to step it up a little bit here. Mahrez cuts inside onto his left foot, brought down by Chalobah. It'll be a clear yellow card for the Chelsea defender, and it's a free kick for Manchester City right of the deep. 32-4, by the way, England's women lead Papua New Guinea in the Rugby League Women's World Cup. Second half, you can watch it on BBC Two. This is in a really threatening position.
The run from Riyad Mahrez is excellent. Through 3 players, it's jinx it right and left. And that last challenge right on the edge of the area. Chalobah comes, Riyad Mahrez over the top. Similar to the one we've seen Ilkay Gundogan put over. Who's going to take it? Got to hit the target. It's a big chance, but just seeing Jack Grealish with those 2 opportunities, Deno. Must be wondering when he won to that left-hand side. Mendy, good save. And then to the right. Gets right across his goal. From the Riyad Mahrez chance, but it's Grealish and Mahrez over the ball.
Well, certainly those 3 saves that Mendy has made from Grealish will give his confidence the world of good. And he might have to keep out Grealish as well, because Grealish looks like he's going to be the taker of this free kick. It's inside the D, although Mahrez now strikes it, and Mahrez scores! It looked like Mendy was expecting the run from Grealish, but it was Mahrez, and he's beaten Mendy with ease, and Manchester City lead by 1-0. What a fine free kick, 1-0 to Manchester City.
He hit it so well, Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish just dummied it. Riyad Mahrez steps up. I'm thinking is he going goalkeeper's right with that left foot right across it. Sure, if there's a gap in the wall, there's maybe a slight deflection. The wall doesn't do its job because he's hit it so clean. Seeing it go onto Mendy's left, he'd be disappointed that the wall doesn't do a little bit more. There was no jump. And at that point, when Koulibaly doesn't, always going to be a problem for the goalkeeper.
Mendy left so exposed. I mean, he didn't even move, but you'd expect the wall to do his job. And you've got the size of Koulibaly, who's not even leaping in the air, and Mahrez with a free kick, and Manchester City are 1-0 up.
You'd be disappointed with that level of detail. Do you know when you're saying you've got that draft excluder behind it, the wall all jumping, it was a little bit disjointed, a couple turning, and it's that tiny detail that gets you unstuck.
Goal at Ibrox, ready for side.
And it's the breakthrough for Rangers. Rangers 1, Hearts 0. Malik Tillman sliding the ball past Gordon at speed, and that was after brilliant work by Ryan Kent. And suddenly the mood of Ibrox has changed. Rangers 1, Hearts 0.
Remember, Celtic leading at Motherwell by 1-0. St Johnstone are down to 10 men as they're drawing 1-1 away at St Mirren in the Scottish Premiership. And the Manchester City supporters, who've made Wembley their second home in recent years, particularly in this competition, are thinking of making further progress as well. as it's cut out by Ruben Dias. Mahrez with the goal. Let's get an update from St James's Park. A 7:45 kickoff, remember. Charlie Slater.
Yeah, just 20 minutes left here. Still goalless. Newcastle 0, Crystal Palace 0. But Eddie Howe made a triple change a few moments ago. A couple of defenders, Botman and Trippier, and a defensive midfielder in Bruno Guimaraes have come on. But for a moment, this place went ballistic. They were shouting Bruno's name. You'd have thought Frank was in the house. Eddie Howe taking this one seriously. They're going for it. Still 0-0.
Chalobah brings the ball out to Ziyech. Ziyech with the cross from the right-hand side. It's a hanging cross from the right, and Ortega, diving back towards his far post, does very, very well.
You see Chalobah does very, very well, but as the ball comes in right round the back, Ziyech puts the ball probably too high, but it catches the goalkeeper out. He's got to backtrack, probably going right into the top corner. As Ortega just pushes it round.
The away support on that upper tier as the cross comes in, only as far as Ziyech, and he screwed it left-footed, entered the penalty area, hit it first time left-footed, and it whizzed away from goal and into the City supporters behind that goal and out for a goal kick. Manchester City lead 1-0.
He tries to use so much power. He's left on the edge of the area. He comes right across it, but he's actually hitting it with sort of the outside of his left foot. It's going towards that top right corner and just drifts away, and it's a good strike, but he's got to get over it. He's got to hit the target.
If you miss Calvin Phillips on the Monday Night Club, and you can always go back and listen to it through BBC Sounds, but he talks about the England squad announcement tomorrow. He said he was very hopeful that he could be involved. He talks about how Pep Guardiola instigated the move to go to Barcelona for surgery straight away for that shoulder problem, and he doesn't think there's an element of risk. He's mentally strong anyway. He's done all the hard work, and he thinks now that if he was to get in the squad, after all of the doubts, in his words, it would be unbelievable. As Ruben Loftus-Cheek running forward, has support from Ziyech, right-hand side. Chelsea need an equaliser. Back to Loftus-Cheek, just inside the box right corner. Pulisic's flick gives it away. Palmer was tugged back there by Pulisic, and he takes the free kick to Grealish. We've got to say he's had a really good game for Manchester City. Here is Alvarez now, just in from the left touch line. Switches play, hoists it into the air. Mahrez, lovely control into the penalty area first time. Mahrez brings the save. Alvarez on the follow-up. And Manchester City have maintained their scoring record of finding at least 2 goals in every home game this season. Alvarez again, couldn't really miss. It's Manchester City 2, Chelsea 0, 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes.
It was Chelsea's defending though. They leave 3 for 3 at the back. Jack Grealish getting in a good position. He waits, puts in Alvarez. It's a wonderful ball right across to the far side to Riyad Mahrez, and we've seen it so many times. As the ball comes down outside of his left foot, control just stops right next to his foot, drives inside, curls it far post. And on that right-hand post, when Mendy just pushes it, Alvarez doesn't stop, and he's there for the follow-up like a natural number 9, just to push the ball in. But it was all about the quality of the ball, Riyad Mahrez's touch, and City take even more advantage in this game.
When Mahrez has got the shot away and Mendy away to his right makes the save, it's Alvarez who's crossed the ball initially to Mahrez, and he's just running in on goal, following it up. And there he was, right place, right time.
But he's anticipating, Deno. You know, he's waiting to see if that shot goes. He realises Riyad Mahrez is probably going to come onto his left. But what about his touch? Riyad Mahrez's touch is sensational. It was a great ball out to him initially.
So Chelsea are now 2-0 down, and their strong travelling support that has the top tier here at the Etihad. Well, they haven't the best of records at the Etihad, and they've got a lot to do now in the next 32 minutes that remain of this second half. Goal at Arsenal, John Southall.
Arsenal 1, Brighton 3. Tariq Lamptey with his first of the season, charging down the left-hand side, came to the edge of the 6-yard box and just slid it into the bottom right-hand corner. Arsenal have it all to do. Zinchenko, Jesus are coming on. Arsenal 1, Brighton 3.
Shrewsbury 1, Oxford United 1 in League 1, Dundee United 4, Kilmarnock 0 in the Scottish Premiership, Nottingham Forest leading Tottenham 2-0, but is sending off John Akers.
For Nottingham Forest with 14 minutes plus added time remaining. I think it's a little harsh. It's Mangala for a second yellow. He won the ball. He did have his hand on the shoulder of the Spurs player. His foot landed on the ball. There's no VAR, obviously, but Forest down to 10 men. They should be out of sight, but Spurs with a lifeline. Forest 2, Spurs 0.
Chelsea, who've lost 10 of their last 14 matches away at Manchester City in all competitions, are 2-0 down, and Manchester City are looking for more goals. Cole Palmer with the shot and run, saved by Mendy. Comes back out to Grealish. Grealish waits, edge of the area, Phillips, back to Bernardo Silva, passing the ball very, very quickly here, Gomez, and at the minute it's Chelsea doing a lot of the chasing of the game. Michael Brown.
Yeah, they are. City in full control. Now they pass in with a purpose. Chelsea have got to do better, but defending like that, 3 for 3, and he just conceded. Alvarez does so well. It's a fantastic ball across to Riyad Mahrez, but how do they react now? How do they come out? This is where City are so comfortable and they don't need to play, keeping the ball, and Chelsea need to react, but blowing them away in about 5 minutes, Deno.
We're expecting Calvin Phillips in the England World Cup squad tomorrow when it's announced.
He's got to be in it though, Deno.
I'm expecting your mate Kyle Walker too. I won't put you on the spot, although your knowing grin seems to suggest quite a lot, but 2 o'clock all will be revealed. Press conference with Gareth Southgate at 2:15, which you'll be able to hear on 5 Live with Nihal tomorrow afternoon, and then there'll be the considered thoughts of our correspondent John Murray throughout the day, and certainly into 5 Live Sport, where tomorrow from 7 we've got more League Cup action for you. Manchester United against Aston Villa. And when it comes to the World Cup, all 64 games on 5 Live and Sports Extra from Qatar when it gets underway on November the 20th. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Michael.
Do you think Pep Guardiola's adapted to the weather? He's just in a tracksuit. This is November.
Yeah, it looks very, very relaxed, doesn't he? Very, very calm and casual, and well, he's always looking cool. As the City supporters a rendition of Blue Moon with their side leading by 2-0. He doesn't do third round exits. Manchester City have never lost at this stage in this competition. In fact, the last time that they lost, it was the campaign of 12-13 when Roberto Mancini was the manager, and they lost to Aston Villa. They've progressed in each of their last 9, and it's going to be the perfect 10 for Manchester City. Since then, it would seem as they lead 2-0, unless something dramatic happens, as we're in the 63rd minute here on 5 Live. 2-0 to Manchester City.
Just seen a great shot there. Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, just on the touchline, having a little bit of a chat, a catch-up in front of the City supporters. I can guarantee Raheem Sterling wouldn't have wanted this result.
No, not on his return to the Etihad, as Loftus-Cheek plays it to Ziyech. First start for Ziyech under Potter. That was a sharp turn. Enters the penalty area with the puck. Called back. Saved by Ortega to keep out Hall. What a save that was. Ziyech has done brilliantly well. And Lewis Hall, for a second time tonight, is denied by the Manchester City goalkeeper.
What about Ziyech on the line? Sergio Gomez, see you later. Little nutmeg. Great pullback. And he must wonder what he's got to do to score as he comes across central of the edge of the sort of 6-yard area, down to that right hand side. Good save from Ortega.
In comes the corner kick. It was a right-handed one-arm save away towards his right. Gallagher's going to be coming on. Chelsea going to be making a double change. Mason Mount is being called forward as well by Graham Potter. Graham Potter, who their away form this season has improved under Graham Potter. When you think that they'd lost 3 of their first 4 at Leeds, Southampton and Zagreb, they were battered at Brighton recently on Graham Potter's return to the Amex. But here they're 2-0 down, although that would have certainly set up an interesting finale had Ortega not made the save. Free kick for Chelsea. In fact, it's going to be a triple change. Gallagher, Mount and Sterling are going to be coming on for Chelsea, who trail 2-0. Ziyech clips it over the top, straight through the arms of Ortega, and we'll go to Anfield and Chris Coles.
25 minutes to play. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. Pedestrian first half, but a frantic second. End-to-end stuff suddenly. Chances for both. Max Bird dragging a shot wide from 7 yards for Derby. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had a deflected shot, well saved by Joe Wildsmith. And Fabio Carvalho also close from distance. And Jurgen Klopp has called on Messrs Firmino, Elliott and Nunez to try and get a winner for Liverpool. But they're being held. It's still 0-0 with League One Derby.
And commentary of that continues on Sports Extra. Goal at West Ham, Sahel Sahi.
West Ham 2, Blackburn 1. Mikel Antonio rifling it home from 20 yards out. Good finish, good goal. West Ham on top, and they're leading Blackburn by 2-1.
You know when you were a kid and you used to have hula hoops on your fingers? Well, I've got my little stickers. And Manchester City, who are leading 2-0 here against Chelsea. Chelsea are going to respond with...
I'm going to get that on the BBC socials, what you're doing now, that's for certain.
With bringing on 4 substitutes. So what I've done, I've put my 4 stickers on my 4 fingers on my left hand, waiting for them all to come on, because it's just easier to be prepared. And I don't know about you when you had the hula hoops. I always used to bite through one of them and catch my fingernail. Did you do that? No? All right. Anyway, Manchester City are attacking. They're leading by 2-0.
I'm not busy being asked to send it, Deno, from everywhere.
No, you keep it.
I will. I wouldn't send it anywhere.
We act as a team.
Juliet Farrington's not asked me for it right now, I promise.
Let's latest scores in the League Cup. Arsenal 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 3, Newcastle 0, Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Tottenham 0, Mangala sent off, Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, West Ham 2, Blackburn Rovers 1, Wolves 0, Leeds United 0. So we could be having penalty shootouts at St James's Park, Molineux and St Mary's, Liverpool and Derby County 0-0. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and that is on Sports Extra. Chelsea ready and waiting to make the changes. It's finished, by the way, in the Women's World Cup in the Rugby League. England have beaten Papua New Guinea 42-4 as Jack Grealish. What a run by Grealish! Grealish with a shot blocked. He deserves a goal. He's been brilliant tonight, Grealish. In comes the cross from Mahrez, headed out by Loftus-Cheek, only as far as Bernardo Silva, runs into the box, dispossessed by Ziyech. Ziyech turns and plays it out towards Chalobah. Every time that Jack Grealish has got the ball, you're thinking something's going to happen.
Yeah, you can hear the supporters singing his name. It's just not falling for him. A block on this occasion. He gets right onto the edge of the area, thinking here it is, but great defending of all people, and it's Ziyech getting back into the box, but City keep coming.
A lazy swish of the right boot by Calvin Phillips out towards Sergio Gomez. A goal at Fir Park now. Conor McLaughlin.
I said earlier on, Daniel, that the goal that was chalked off for offside from Jota was one of the best I've seen all season. This one is up there. It's Dejan Maeda who's got his 4th goal of the season. The ball was crossed over by David Turnbull and he slid it under Liam Kelly. A thing of beauty. Motherwell 0, Celtic 2, 5 minutes to go.
Thanks, Connie. Rangers still lead Hearts by 1-0. Sterling has come on for Ziyech. Mount has come on for Broja. Conor Gallagher is coming on for Zakaria. And then the 4th change is going to be Azpilicueta, who is, we're just waiting for the 4th official from Paul Tierney. It is going to be Chalobah. So Azpilicueta comes on for Chalobah. And that is why you needed all the stickers ready, because otherwise I'd have been fumbling around. I'd have failed an audition for Blue Peter, I know that for a fact.
The crisp one's a good one, though. It was like that. It's already on there, Deno. It's gone. I think Jules is dining out on that one.
Well, I suppose it's an improvement on Sporty Spice, or is it?
Yeah, or our new friend with a new voice. Juliet's new posh voice.
Sports presenter extraordinaire. Midway through the second half. Manchester City lead by 2-0. Here is Phillips now to Bernardo Silva. Back it goes to Laporte and Sterling running towards him. We touched upon Sterling in the first half when he got a lovely ovation from the City supporters when he was warming up. But his time here, 339 appearances, 131 goals. We said that he'd won this competition with City 5 times. 4 Premier League titles, part of 11 major trophies. that he's won at Manchester City. St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership, and another goal at Fir Park. Conor McLaughlin.
I'm not sure this was in the script. It's Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. 3 minutes to go of normal time in this one. It was Ross Tierney, a huge Motherwell fan, just looked a ball over the top of Joe Hart's head. Is this going to change things in the script this evening at Fir Park? Motherwell 1, Celtic 2.
Rangers will hope so. They still lead Hearts by 1-0. And Dundee United 4, Kilmarnock 0, and no change between St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1. St Johnstone, who are down to 10 men. Let's get an update from Anfield. It's an 8 o'clock kick-off, Liverpool Derby County. It's on Sports Extra. Chris Coles.
And it's still Liverpool 0, Derby 0. We're into the final 20 minutes, and Anfield is a nervy place because the more we creep towards 90 minutes, the more the 5,500 Derby County fans will fancy that their team can pull off an almighty upset. Liverpool have a dangerous free kick. They've looked brighter since Nunez, Elliott and Firmino are on the field. But with 20 minutes just under that to go, Derby are more than holding their own in this game. Liverpool 0, Derby 0.
Yeah, we have 19 minutes remaining of this 8 o'clock kick-off. Manchester City still leading Chelsea by 2-0, but a late goal at Molineux. Naz Premji.
Wolves 1, Leeds 0. Podence with the cutback, and substitute Boubacar Traoré has curled one in past Joel Robles. Wolves 1, Leeds 0.
So Wolves then getting that late goal there at Molineux. First goal as well for the club, for Boubacar Traoré, as they lead Leeds United by 1-0. You're listening to 5 Live Sport, and also available on BBC Sounds on a night of League Cup action. And don't forget as well, and it is easy to forget, that the last 16, the 4th round, will be played within 2 days of the World Cup final. The 20th and 21st of December. What was it Pep Guardiola said yesterday? A crazy World Cup. And mad to think that straight away some of the players will be, returning from the World Cup, whether it be at a semi-final stage, and then we'll have to turn their attentions, because I can't imagine for the life of me thinking those who are involved in the final will be playing in a League Cup tie within 48 hours. But this intense schedule, unless it's the UEFA Cup last 16, then it's spread over 4 weeks.
I mean, literally, if you win the final, you're expected to come back. I mean, I don't know. You understand we've got a tight schedule, but come on.
So elsewhere in the League Cup, in the 7:45 kickoffs, Newcastle Crystal Palace could be going to penalties. It's still 0-0, and we could have a potential penalty shootout at St Mary's. Southampton, Sheffield Wednesday. Jonathan O'Brien.
Yes, Sheffield Wednesday holding on because Southampton have just hit the bar. Stuart Armstrong striking it. It's still rattling, I think. Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, 3 minutes to go.
Loftus-Cheek with the cross, flags up on this near side anyway, although it wasn't put in actually. It was another good save from Ortega. It was Loftus-Cheek with the right hand side. Darren Cann raising his flag immediately. As we said before, there is no VAR, but Ortega wasn't to know that, and actually did very, very well to keep it out as the ball was played in. But I think Mason Mount was in an offside position.
Yeah, you can see straight away he was right across from the assistant referee. Central. It's a good save again. Pulisic takes the touch, pushes it down to the goalkeeper's left hand side. He's quick to react. Straight away, assistant referee put the flag up.
So we've got just under 17 minutes remaining on 5 Live. Level, Newcastle Palace and Southampton Sheffield Wednesday. Mendy gets the ball out to Loftus-Cheek, who's unable to control the ball, and it will still be a Chelsea throw nevertheless. Last touch came off a City player, leading by 2-0. It's going to be 16 successive home wins here at the Etihad, as the ball is tidied up by Sergio Gomez to Ortega, and the 5th and final change is about to be made, and it is going to be Kai Havertz who's going to be coming on for Chelsea as they're 2-0 down. Phillips on the stretch, couldn't get there. Kovacic wins it back for Chelsea to Gallagher. Gallagher forward ball, Sterling edge of the area, Sterling waits, there's a man over, it's Hall, his cross takes a deflection and Ortega just one step back onto his goal line, makes the save at head height. 2-0 Manchester City.
Yeah, Hall again getting into some room. Gallagher playing forward as early as possible. You can see they've got a little bit more legs, or a bit fresher now on the pitch. They look to make this last change, and Pep Guardiola complaining that the detail is not good enough. Stefan Ortega is going long, but he's Grealish, but it's a foul for Bernardo Silva. Pep Guardiola's going crazy, saying it shouldn't be on Gallagher.
We've had a late goal at Molineux where Wolves took the lead against Leeds United. There's now been a late goal at West Ham against Blackburn Rovers. Sahel Sahi.
We could be heading to penalties. Blackburn Rovers have equalised. It's 2 apiece. Ben Brereton Diaz off the bench. Lovely curling effort past Alphonse Areola, who's been named in the France squad this evening for the World Cup. It's West Ham 2, Blackburn 2.
So Lewis Hall, who's certainly impressed for Chelsea, has gone off on the far side of the field. Kai Havertz has come on with 15 minutes remaining. So he's certainly now got a lot of the attacking options on the field, Graham Potter, as he looks to try and turn around this situation as they trail by 2-0. And elsewhere in the competition, in the 7:45 kickoffs, which must be coming to an end very, very soon, Newcastle Crystal Palace is 0-0, Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, and with Blackburn Rovers and that equaliser from Brereton Diaz 2 minutes from the end, that now is 2-2. Wolves lead Leeds United by 1-0. Nottingham Forest down to 10 men, are still 2-0 up against Tottenham. And elsewhere in the competition, it's Arsenal 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 3, as they have come from behind at the Emirates. Here it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, as it is at Anfield. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. That one's on Sports Extra. But with 14 minutes remaining, Manchester City still looking very, very comfortable despite the changes that Graham Potter has made. But Mount is able to turn on the halfway line, and he's got Loftus-Cheek ahead of him on the right-hand side. Loftus-Cheek doesn't deliver the cross first time. Now he fires the ball across, pinged over and cleared by Bernardo Silva. Alvarez, he thought he was in his own half. The flag's gone up on the far side. I thought he was in his own half when that actually happened. Let's get an update from Anfield. Chris Coles.
12 minutes to play. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. Liverpool continue to press. They continue to probe, but Derby continue to hold firm. And to be honest, Joe Wildsmith in the Rams goal hasn't really been called into action. 16-year-old Ben Doak also on the field for Liverpool as Roberto Firmino squares, looking for Nunez. It's cleared behind for a Liverpool corner. But you have to say, Derby are not exactly up against it so far in this second half. 11 minutes to play now. Still Liverpool 0, Derby 0.
Commentary on Sports Extra. Dundee United have beaten Kilmarnock by 4-0. They've traded places with them. Killy now at bottom of the Scottish Premiership as Calvin Phillips tries to stop his England teammate Mason Mount coming forward. The ball is passed out by Kovacic. Cucurella goes forward. This is Havertz. Havertz with the shot, edge of the area, left-footed. Swept it forwards, and Raheem Sterling fractionally too far ahead of him. We'll go to the City ground, John Akers.
Forest 2, Spurs 0, and Forest have the ball inside the Spurs half with their 10 men. 2 goals just after half-time. Look to have knocked Spurs out. Spurs 2, Tottenham 0. Sorry, Forest 2, Tottenham 0.
John Southall at Arsenal.
Well, the ball's just gone up. 5 minutes added on. Arsenal 1, Brighton 3. Arsenal pressing desperately, trying to get back into this game. Martinelli unmarked left of the area. Good save by the feet of steel. They're running out of time. Arsenal 1, Brighton 3.
The 90 minutes are over at St James's Park. Charlie Slater.
And just like in the league a couple of months ago, they couldn't be separated. It finishes Newcastle 0, Crystal Palace 0. We're heading to penalties here. All the star men on the pitch, though, for Newcastle. They've got a wealth of talent to choose from. 0-0.
Ball cleared away by Ortega in front of the onrushing Sterling. Mahrez now tries to thread it through to Alvarez. Koulibaly will bring the ball forward for Chelsea. Time desperately running out for Graham Potter's side. Ake waits to warm up, so they've gone to penalties at St James's Park. Penalties looming at Southampton and West Ham United as well. Meanwhile, in Scotland, full-time at Fir Park, Motherwell Celtic, Connie McLaughlin.
Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. Celtic stay 7 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership after an early Kyogo tap-in and a late strike by Daizen Maeda. Kevin Van Veen had hit the post for the home side, and Jota had a beautiful chip ruled out for offside. Ross Tierney just pulled one back for the home side late on, but it wasn't quite enough. Motherwell 1, Celtic 2.
It's going to start getting very, very frantic and busy here on 5 Live. Full time at Nottingham Forest. John Akers, hold on. Koulibaly, back to Mendy. Full time, John.
Forest 2, Spurs 0. Another chance of a trophy for Spurs goes begging. Lodi and Lingard with their first goals for the club just after the break. Lodi's was an absolute beauty. Lingard goal assist, his best performance in a Forest shirt. They had Mangala sent off for 2 yellows late on. Spurs were woeful. Forest 2, Spurs 0.
Cucurella to Gallagher. Gallagher tries to get the ball forward towards Loftus-Cheek. It's played behind him and it bounces out of play for a throw. Quickly to Anfield, Chris Coles.
Best chance of the match for Liverpool, squandered by Harvey Elliott. Brilliantly found by Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Elliott freed him of the penalty area, 6 yards out, tried to poke it past Wildsmith, who just about got there to claw it behind. Liverpool 0, Derby 0, 8 minutes to play.
Lopetegui, the new manager for Wolves, he arrives next week and his first game is likely to be in the League Cup 4th round. Naz Premji.
It is Wolves 1, Leeds 0. That 4th round League Cup tie secured by Boubacar Traore's first goal for the club. A curling effort past Robles. Leeds were poor all night. Wolves 1, Leeds 0.
Someone's very excited behind you, Naz. Full time at Ibrox, ready for side.
Rangers 1, Hearts 0. Rangers stay 7 points behind Celtic with the goal that kept them there from Malik Tillman after brilliant work by Ryan Kent, and that stilled the boos that were circulating around Ibrox. Rangers 1, Hearts 0.
Just waiting for that full-time score between St Mirren and St Johnstone, and that will complete the set for the quartet of matches in the Scottish Premiership tonight. Still Manchester City lead Chelsea 2-0, 9 minutes remaining. Still awaiting the full-time whistle of the 90 minutes at Southampton and at West Ham United. Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, West Ham 2, Blackburn Rovers 2, and in fact it has finished, and it's penalties at St Mary's. Jonathan Overend.
It is, and David Stockdale is the Sheffield Wednesday hero with the last touch of the match, saving from Theo Walcott, and it was an excellent save. So 1-1 it finished. Will Stockdale be the hero again? Spot kicks.
Yeah, still playing here in this 8 o'clock kickoff, 2-0. Remember, it's still 0-0 between Liverpool and Derby at Anfield. We're at Anfield on Saturday afternoon for their game against Southampton at 3, followed by Newcastle-Chelsea, a really good game at St James's Park at 5:30. They're into penalties, remember, on Tyneside as well. We'll keep you up to date with how that's going with Charlie Slater. But here, Michael Brown, despite all the changes that Chelsea have made, Manchester City have been able to keep them at a safe distance.
Yeah, they have. We've had a Kai Havertz shot on the turn. Cucurella just into his feet and just pulls it wide just ahead of Sterling. But after that now it's just City who've tried to control the possession. Pep Guardiola is still very frustrated. Nathan Ake on for Emerick Laporte. But, just City need to be as professional as possible, play into the corners.
So the penalties at Newcastle, Southampton, and now at West Ham. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, ended here, Ian, 2 apiece. Good game ending with a super strike from Ben Bertrand Diaz to equalise with 2 minutes to play. So on we go, full-time, West Ham 2, Blackburn 2.
Still playing at Arsenal, but Brighton are surely going through as they lead Arsenal by 3-1. Manchester City are heading through too as well, with just over 7 minutes of normal time remaining, as the ball is helped to Kovacic, but he's midway through his own half, and now all of a sudden he gets it up to Havertz on the halfway line, and Pulisic coming in from that left touch line to Havertz with a cross, and again just in front of Raheem Sterling. Just not quite firing, Chelsea.
No, they're not, but they're starting to get in advanced positions. The City are not seeing it out as normal. They look to the bench, will they make a few more substitutions? See Stones, Foden, and Kevin De Bruyne as it fizzes right across the face. Sterling will be itching for one of those chances, as we know, to try and give them some sort of hope towards the end of this game.
Don't forget tomorrow as well, the second semi-final in the T20 World Cup cricket. England-India on Sports Extra from 7:30. Regular updates into breakfast with Rick and Rachel. Arsenal are out of the Carabao Cup. John Southall.
They are Arsenal 1, Brighton 3. Terrific night for Brighton. There's 6,500 travelling fans in the far corner. 1-1 at half-time. The sub Karim Matoma slammed in the second. Tariq Lamptey with the third, marauding down the left. Finished into the bottom right-hand corner. Martinelli and Holding went close for Arsenal, but their good run here is over. They've won their last 12 here. The last defeat, April the 9th. The opposition then, Brighton. They've done it again. Brighton into round 4. Arsenal 1, Brighton 3.
Ball played up to Azpilicueta. He's got a lot of space to run into. Azpilicueta finds Sterling. Sterling enters the penalty area. Phillips snuffs out the threat. Back out it goes to Azpilicueta. Crosses towards the far post. There were two Chelsea players, Havertz leaping with his head, Pulisic arriving with an outstretched left leg. Neither could get there. Out of play it goes for a goal kick.
Yeah, good play from Chelsea. Raheem Sterling getting into a good area, but Azpilicueta's ball was delightful. Right inside of the 6-yard area. Pulisic, back post, flying in with his left foot. He just couldn't reach it. We've seen Calvin Phillips just reduce Gallagher. He's getting up to speed already, but Chelsea need to push on now if they're going to get anything.
Just over 5 minutes remaining. Manchester City still lead 2-0. How are the penalties faring at St James's Park? Charlie Slater.
Newcastle have scored both of theirs. Crystal Palace have had one saved. Brilliant save from Pope against Milivojevic. Here is Will Hughes now with the second penalty for Palace, and it's dispatched nicely into the far corner. Sends the keeper the wrong way. 2 apiece.
You must have about 5 minutes left at Anfield. Liverpool derby. Chris Coles.
We do, Ian, yes. 3 and a bit actually, plus stoppage time. Warning sign for Liverpool. Chance for Derby. David McGoldrick, back post header. Didn't get anywhere near enough power on it. And Queven Kelleher saved. And just a few moments ago, Roberto Firmino's front post header. Well saved by Wildsmith. You can hear the Liverpool fans urging their team, but they are running out of time to find a winner. Liverpool 0, Derby 0, 3 minutes to play.
The 10 men of St Johnstone have scrambled an equaliser at St Mirren in the 96th minute. St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 2. Still playing. 2-0 to Manchester City here. Sterling held up by Ruben Dias. Flicks it back towards Gallagher, who now will switch play. High ball out towards that far side, the left. Pulisic did well to actually keep it in play with his head, looking for the supporting run of Cucurella. Cucurella now has won it back for Chelsea into Havertz, plays it behind Pulisic, who has to come from a standing start on that left-hand side. Plays it back towards Cucurella. It was a hurried ball in and rather sloppily given away by Cucurella to Jack Grealish, who runs into Kovacic. Michael Brown.
Cucurella twice now in good opportunities is give the ball away. He's got to do better, keep the momentum up. Pulisic looks so good in and around tight areas, but it's all Chelsea at the moment now. Pep Guardiola directing his players, realising this is a real tense time and you don't want to concede at this moment to give Chelsea any sort of momentum, but they're getting into good spots.
Here is Mason Mount. Mount coming forward for Chelsea. Azpilicueta left-hand side with a cross. Turned behind by Ake for a corner kick. Back to St James's Park. Charlie Slater.
Joel Ward has just scored for Crystal Palace to keep the shootout alive. It now falls on Newcastle to see if they can dispatch this one away. 3-2 as it stands.
Finish St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 2, Shrewsbury 1, Oxford United 1 is a full-time also in League One. We're going to keep you abreast of those 3 ties that have gone to penalty shootouts here on 5 Live. Chelsea, though, have a corner kick right-hand side. Pulisic to take it. They're playing from left to right. They're 2-0 down. Pulisic, in it goes. Headed out by Ake. Hit on the half volley by Gallagher. It actually falls kindly for Mason Mount, who turns and shoots right-footed, and it drops wide and out for a goal kick. Wow. Judging by his reaction, that was probably close.
Yeah, it was close. Obviously, good set piece. Nathan Ake, and it was a drag that caught anybody out, wasn't it? That obviously expected so much more at the edge of the area, Gallagher, but Mount comes across. It just always skims the post. Very close, Chelsea.
Back to Tyneside, Charlie Slater.
Jean-Philippe Matete now has the ball on the spot after Sven Botman has just had his missed. Here is Philippe Matete, and that's been saved by Nick Pope. Pope the hero here, and now Bruno Guimaraes has a chance to win it for Newcastle.
We'll stay with you, Charlie.
Guimaraes striding forward. Only yesterday found out that he would be included in the Brazil squad for the World Cup. Nick Pope, who waits anxiously, hoping that he tomorrow will find out that he's going to join him in Qatar, hands him the ball. Guimaraes, who is such a hero here at St James's Park. Newcastle have scored 3 of their penalties. Palace have scored only 2. Guimaraes takes a long run up, stands in the D, hands on his hips now in front of the Leazer's end to win the shootout. Guimaraes, little stutter step, and with his right foot puts it over the top of the crossbar. We continue.
Drama at St James's Park. Whilst we were away there, Grealish and Azpilicueta squabbling, pushing and shoving. It was a late challenge as Piliqueta on Grealish. I think he told him to stand up. Elsewhere, the penalty shootouts continue at St Mary's. Jonathan Overend.
And remember, this is Premier League against League One, 1-1 at full time. Southampton and Sheffield Wednesday into spot kicks. All three, the first three have been scored. 2 for Southampton, 1 for Sheffield Wednesday. Barry Bannon now for Wednesday to try to level it at 2-2. There it is, 2-2 in the spot kick.
And Chelsea here, after an almighty scramble, thought that they'd equalised, but the flag is up and it remains 2-0 to Manchester City as we go back to Newcastle. Charlie Slater.
You join me, Aboe's had his penalty saved by Nick Pope, and Newcastle are through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. We've even got a couple of fans on the pitch who says people don't care about this competition. Newcastle through, Boe misses.
So Newcastle have gone through 3-2 on penalties against Crystal Palace. What about that last effort from Chelsea here? It was off the post at one stage, goal line block as well. No VAR, but it was ruled out for offside, an own goal from Ake.
Well, it just had everything, didn't it? It's almost an OG from Gomez as he hits the post. Sterling thought he'd scored, comes back across, ends up in the net. Finally, but to the delight of all the City supporters behind the goal, the flag goes up.
Liverpool 0, Derby 0. We could have penalties at Anfield. We have got penalties at West Ham. What's the latest, Sahel Sahi?
The latest, Blackburn are leading West Ham by 4 penalty kicks to 3, and Mikel Antonio's about to stride up to take West Ham's 4th. So currently it's Blackburn 4, West Ham 3.
Liverpool Derby, Chris Coles.
3 minutes away from penalties here. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. 5 minutes of stoppage time on the board, and we've played 2 of them. Derby playing all the tricks in the book to waste time. A couple of subs. Joe Wildsmith is receiving treatment, and the prospect of penalties gets ever closer. Liverpool 0, Derby 0.
Manchester City 2, Chelsea 0. Manchester City are attacking, and this is Grealish trying to get his way into the penalty area, stopped by Gallagher, and Chelsea will snuff it out as they will eventually clear the ball through Gallagher to Loftus-Cheek. But we're into stoppage time, and still Manchester City have that comfortable cushion, leading by 2-0. So Newcastle have gone through, Brighton are through, Nottingham Forest are through, Wolves are through, and we wait to see who will prevail on penalties between Southampton and Sheffield Wednesday and West Ham and Blackburn Rovers, as Piliqueta meanwhile in the penalty area for Chelsea with a cutback, and there is Cole Palmer to bring the ball away for Manchester City as the light rain falls here at the Etihad.
Yeah, just ricocheted right into the path of Piliqueta. Looks like he could have got through, but looks like City are just feeding it all the way through. But Ortega gets man of the match around the stadium. That tells you something.
Back to West Ham United, Sahel Sahi.
So Blackburn are leading West Ham by 5 penalty kicks to 4. Lanzini has placed the ball on the spot. He has to score to keep West Ham in the League Cup, and he has scored, Ian. So we go into sudden death. It's West Ham 5, Blackburn 5.
Sudden death at West Ham Blackburn Rovers. We'll get an update from Southampton Sheffield Wednesday when we can with Jonathan Overend. They have a penalty shootout at St Mary's. Would you have given it Ortega the man of the match or Grealish?
He's made some good saves. Grealish does very, very well. I think it's nice when someone comes in if the goalkeeper's needed later on. Jack Grealish has had the applause from the crowd. He hasn't got that goal, but some big saves from Ortega. So
we've just mentioned, Jonathan, Southampton Sheffield Wednesday. Where are you up to?
Well, it's 5-4 Southampton, and every spot kick has been scored so far. And this is interesting because Lee Gregory is striding up for Sheffield Wednesday's final regulation kick, and he missed at the weekend in the 4-2 win over Burton. He actually hit the bar. So this could be the decisive one, or we could be going into sudden death as well. 9 very good penalties so far. Gregory then to keep Sheffield Wednesday in it. He scores this time. Huge relief for Lee Gregory. 5-5. Sudden death here. You're into sudden death already, Sahel at West Ham.
Ben Johnson has just scored for West Ham, so we're into sudden death. It's Blackburn 6, West Ham 6. The night continues, and Blackburn are about to take their 7th spot kick. Both sides have scored all of their spot kicks, and Blackburn, the responsibility falls to Joe Rankin Costello. Places the ball on the spot. They scored as early as the 6th minute. They went in at half-time, 1 apiece, trailed in the second half, and they scored with 2 minutes to play of the 90. Here comes Costello and rolls it past Alphonse Areola, and Blackburn now lead West Ham by 7 spot kicks to 6. And let's go back to Southampton and Jonathan Overan.
Amazing that these 2 spot kicks no one has missed yet. These 2 penalty shootouts, the one at the London Stadium and the one here at the St Mary's Stadium, where Southampton lead by 6 goals to 5 in the shootout. So for the second time, Sheffield Wednesday stepping up and have to score. The League One side, and it's Dominic Iorfa Jr. stepping up, saved by McCarthy, and Southampton win it on a penalty shootout by 6 goals to 5. To West Ham, Sahel.
Aaron Cresswell has just scored the 7th spot kick for West Ham. So we're into sudden death. It's West Ham 7, Blackburn 7, and Blackburn are about to take their 8th. Let's go to Anfield, Liverpool derby, and Chris Coles.
We are heading to penalties, Sir Hale. Despite all their possession, Liverpool's youngsters just couldn't find a breakthrough. Derby came with a plan, executed it brilliantly, and now have the chance to knock out the holders on penalties. Liverpool 0, Derby 0. Sir Hale, back to you at West Ham.
Well, Hayden Carter has just scored the 8th for Blackburn. So Blackburn lead West Ham by 8 penalty kicks to 7, and West Ham are about to take their 8th, and it's Flynn Downs who's just with a slight jog just approaching the penalty spot. The referee Thomas Bramall kicks the ball towards Flynn Downs. He places it carefully. Blackburn are leading by 8 spot kicks to 7. Here comes Downs, and he rolls it past Ainsley Pears, and now it is West Ham 8, Blackburn 8. And we're running out of players here as Blackburn march towards the penalty spot. Full time at the Etihad, it's ended Manchester City 2, Chelsea 0. Spot kicks here at the London Stadium. And let's quickly head over to Anfield. We'll go there in a moment. Blackburn are about to take their 9th penalty kick. It's 8 apiece here, and they've scored from the spot kick. On we go. So Blackburn leading West Ham now by 9 penalty kicks to 8, and I'm running out of paper. Scrambling down the penalty takers, and no one has missed so far this evening. We're heading it was 5 apiece. We headed into sudden death, and it's now Agard who approaches the penalty spot. He'll take it left-footed. West Ham scored again, and it's 9 apiece here at the London Stadium, and we go on and on. The 2 goalkeepers have yet to take spot kicks, and after these final 2 penalty takers, I think we'll be heading towards the penalty the goalkeepers. And it's Adam Wharton, Jake Garrett, beg your pardon, who's about to take the 10th penalty kick for Blackburn. It's 9 apiece. That's the West Ham fans who are cheering, who are applauding, and he's scored. He's crept that in just past Alphonse Areola. So it's currently Blackburn 10, West Ham 9. If you're just tuning in to 5 Live Sport, this game finished this evening. West Ham 2, Blackburn 2. It's been a terrific game. 4 goals shared. Went to penalty kicks. And at the moment, the teams can't be separated. Blackburn leading by 10 penalty kicks to 9. And here comes Angelo Ogbonna, the captain tonight for West Ham, to keep the London side in the competition. He's hit the crossbar. He's hit the crossbar, and Blackburn are through to round 4 of the League Cup. Amazing scenes here at London Stadium, and West Ham are out of the competition, and Blackburn win by 10 penalty kicks to 9, Juliet.
Right, so far the teams through then to the fourth round of the EFL Cup. Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Newcastle, Manchester City, Southampton, Wolves, and as you were hearing, Blackburn. The teams through on penalty shootouts were Newcastle, Blackburn, Southampton. We're going to find out what happens at Anfield now to Conor McNamara and Stephen Warnock.
Because David Goldrick has stepped forward, the experienced striker for Derby. The first penalty, straight down the middle and scores. 0-0 after 90 minutes. Derby County of League One score the first penalty shootout. Caoimhín Kelleher was Liverpool's hero in the shootout in the League Cup final back in February. He dived to his left-hand side, but Goldrick sent it straight down the middle. And now, although Derby went for a very experienced player for their first spot kick, Liverpool are going for a young man who's making his first start for the club. Stefan Bajcetic, the Spaniard, steps forward for Liverpool. Stephen Warnock.
Very interesting. I always think put your best penalty taker first. It's exactly what Derby did. They got themselves ahead. Big pressure on him.
The Derby fans are behind the goal at that end. Short one up from Bajcetic, saved by Joe Wildsmith. He had a brilliant game in the 90 minutes. He made some big stops for Derby, and he's denied young Stefan Bajcetic here, with the Derby fans all waving the torches on their mobile phones to try and put off the Liverpool youngster. Derby lead 1-0 in the shootout, with both teams having taken one spot kick.
Well, I have to say, if VAR was involved, it'd be retaken. He comes so far off his line, Wildsmith. But VAR isn't here, it isn't involved, so the penalty stands, and it was a big penalty, the first one to miss.
Stepping forward for Derby, another of their more experienced players, Conor Howard, the former Aston Villa player, left-footed, orange boots, up against his fellow Irishman Caoimhín Kelleher. Kelleher saves from it, diving to the right-hand side. Both teams have missed one now. Both goalkeepers have made a save. And Caoimhín Kelleher, who's becoming quite the shootout hero, saved a penalty from Norwich's Christian Chollis in the League Cup last season. He was Liverpool's goalkeeper in the shootout wins against both Leicester and Chelsea in this competition. And he has put a bit more pressure on Derby there.
Oh, how a penalty shootout can swing and ebb from side to side. Jurgen Klopp has just been complaining to the fourth official down below, and now the referee is speaking to Joe Wildsmith, saying to him, be careful on your line, you've got to be careful. So the message must have gone across to him, but it's up to the fourth official, the assistant referee, to watch that position, to make sure that he doesn't come off his line.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain steps forward for Liverpool. 2 goals in his last 4 Premier League appearances. Stands with the hands at his hips. Derby fans waving their torches again. Goalkeeper dancing behind the goal line. Brilliant penalty scored by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in off the inside of the post. You don't save those. So both teams have scored 2. Both teams have missed 2 as Craig Forsyth comes forward for Derby.
Yeah, very experienced player, stepping forward, had an extremely good game. Craig Forsyth, left-footed. You just wonder, will he look to reverse it, or will he look just to strike it right down the middle of the goal?
Craig Forsyth, Derby's longest serving current player at the Anfield Road end. Saved by Kelleher again. This time he went the other side, diving to his left. Caoimhín Kelleher denies Craig Forsyth. Advantage Liverpool. Derby have taken 3 kicks. Kelleher has saved 2 of them.
Well, he tried to strike it, reverse it into the bottom corner. It's not the worst penalty, but Kelleher makes it look really comfortable. Such is his physique and his frame, he gets across the goal so quickly to push it round the post.
It is still 1-1 in the shootout, but this is the kick in hand for Liverpool, and they've sent up one of the big guns, Roberto Firmino. It'll be a right-footed penalty. He dances and he jumps and he puts it over the top. It's a dreadful penalty. The silly run-up, the scooped shot. Roberto Firmino sends the ball into the ecstatic Derby fans behind the goal. They've both missed 2 now. It is 1-1 in the shootout. Both teams having taken 3 spot kicks, and you wouldn't have thought Firmino would do that.
No, you wouldn't at all. Absolutely awful technique on the run up, and it's just so off-putting even just watching it.
4th penalty for Derby is taken, and it is scored by Louis Sibley. Kelleher dived to his right, Sibley went straight down the middle. In all the penalties so far, Kelleher has picked a side, and I think Sibley had watched that and he sent it down the middle. So suddenly it's Derby's advantage. 2-1 they lead. They've taken 4 spot kicks. Liverpool's 4th is going to be taken by Darwin Núñez. And again, instructions from the officials to Joe Wildsmith to make sure he doesn't encroach over his goal line. Darwin Núñez. 5 goals in his last 8 games in all competitions. Got the winner against West Ham last month. That was his first Liverpool goal here at Anfield. He's since scored against Napoli. And here he comes. It'll be right-footed. It is Darwin Núñez. That's a brilliant penalty. He rolled it in just inside the post, and despite it not being powerful, and despite the goalkeeper picking the right side, it was so accurate it squeezed in. That is a world-class penalty from Darwin Núñez.
Well, I don't understand how he hasn't saved it, but it's inch perfect into the corner. It's such a good penalty. But Wildsmith, he gets over, he gets the slightest of fingertips on it, but it's not enough.
2-2. This is the 5th penalty. It's effectively sudden death now, as Lewis Dobbin on loan from Everton. What a story if he could contribute to knocking Liverpool out of the League Cup back on Merseyside. Number 18 on his back. Short run up from Dobbin, and it's saved again by Kelleher. He's having a stormer. That is 3 saves out of 4 kicks now. The last 4 for Kelleher. They've all been on target, but he saved them. Dobbin denied.
What a big left hand from Kelleher. Outstanding save to push it round the post. We don't often see emotion from Kelleher, but then we saw it. Fist bump straight away to his teammates.
And this can win it now for Liverpool. This is 5 Live for the BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra as well. Anfield. Harvey Elliott, a substitute in the second half of the 90 minutes, will step forward up against Joe Wildsmith, and Elliott scores! Puts the keeper the wrong way. He runs to Caoimhín Kelleher to celebrate, and Liverpool's kids have delivered the result tonight. It took them through the full 90 minutes, through to the 10th penalty of the shootout. Harvey Elliott holds his nerve, and Derby, who were so brave tonight, who gave it such a good go, are beaten at the very end of the regular spot kick shootout.
Catch me if I fall.